welcome to Tales in the Dark. I know many of you enjoy relaxing with these videos, so I recommend turning down the volume until my voice is barely audible. It'll make the experience even more soothing. Before you close your eyes, let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and enjoy listening. Story 1. On a serene evening, as I wandered along the river's edge, a peculiar sight caught my eye in the gentle ripples of the water. It wasn't my own reflection staring back at me, but a ghostly visage, silently observing. The soothing murmur of the river, intertwined with the earthy aroma of damp soil and wildflowers, hinted at hidden depths beneath its tranquil surface. My evening strolls by the river had always been a source of comfort to me. The way the setting sun painted the sky with hues of amber and lavender, the whisper of the wind through the tall grass, and the soft moss underfoot, it was my sanctuary. But on this particular evening, there was an unusual stillness in the air, as if nature itself held its breath. As I gazed at the mysterious reflection on the water, it remained unmoving, unaffected by the gentle ripples around it. It bore a semblance of a face, yet not quite human, a shape-shifting impression with eyes that held a depth of knowledge and an uncanny familiarity. The gravel softly crunched beneath my feet as I knelt closer to the water, a cool mist rising from the river's surface, carrying the sweet fragrance of water lilies and moss. In the distance, the gentle hoot of an owl blended harmoniously with the flowing water, creating a mesmerizing symphony of nature. I found myself drawn back to that spot each evening, compelled by an inexplicable force I couldn't fully grasp. Every visit unveiled something new, a flicker of movement beneath the water, a faint melody rising from the depths, barely audible over the river's constant hum. The face in the water became a comforting presence, an enigmatic companion waiting to share unspoken truths. With each passing week, subtle changes in the surroundings became apparent. The wildflowers bloomed more vibrantly near my perch. Fireflies danced in greater numbers, casting their ethereal glow, and the air crackled with a gentle energy that tingled on my skin. One tranquil night, under the moon's silver gaze, I experienced something truly extraordinary. As I reached out to touch the water's surface, a warmth enveloped my fingertips despite the cool night air. Ripples of light cascaded outward as my touch broke the stillness, resembling liquid starlight. The face in the water smiled, not with lips, but with eyes exuding a warmth that seemed to seep into my very being. It was then that realization dawned upon me. The river wasn't merely reflecting images. It was a portal to a realm existing between worlds. The face I beheld was not a ghostly apparition, but a glimpse into a reality parallel to our own, visible only to those who dared to truly see. Now when twilight descends and the world hushes, I discern ancient whispers within the river's current. The face appears less frequently, but its essence lingers in the water's movements, in the floating leaves, in the interplay of light and shadow. The river has transformed into more than a mere location. It's a guardian of enigmas, a custodian of secrets, unveiled solely to those patient enough to listen. I've kept this tale to myself until now, for some may deem it a figment of imagination, a trick of light on weary eyes. Yet on tranquil evenings, when reality blends with dreams, I return to the river's side. Occasionally, I catch a glimpse of those knowing eyes in the depths, a reminder that profound mysteries are often felt rather than seen. The face in the river imparted wisdom that some questions require no answers, and certain enigmas are best left unsolved. As I stroll along the riverbank now, I carry this insight as a cherished secret, acknowledging that the boundary between the mundane and the extraordinary is as fluid as the river itself, ever shifting yet ever constant. Story 2. In the heart of an old, forgotten fairground, under a sky heavy with clouds, I stumbled upon a carousel frozen in time. Its once vibrant horses now stood motionless, their painted colors faded to whispers of their former glory. The air carried the weight of years gone by, a mix of rust and the lingering scent of paint long dried. Circumnavigating the carousel, a subtle melody seemed to linger in the air, a melody of nostalgia, a tune of laughter echoing softly in the stillness. Amidst the weathered horses, one stood out to me, its coat transformed from white to a gentle gray, adorned with ribbons that had lost their luster under layers of dust. As I drew closer, a breeze swept through the skeletal structure, producing a delicate symphony of metal that sent shivers down my spine, not of fear but of recognition, as if the sound had been plucked from a distant memory. The wooden platform beneath my feet, though aged, felt sturdy and alive, each step creating a unique note that harmonized with the surrounding stillness. Tracing my fingers along the carvings of the central column, I could feel the imprints left by countless hands that had come before me. In the dim light filtering through the clouds, the mirrors that adorned the carousel's pinnacle captured and reflected fragments of light, casting a dance of illumination upon the ground below. Despite its apparent abandonment, the carousel exuded a strange vitality, a presence that defied its desolate state. The air encircling it held a peculiar tranquility, akin to the calm at the center of a tempest. I noticed how the encroaching vegetation halted at the carousel's boundary, creating a perfect ring as if nature itself acknowledged an unseen boundary. As the evening crept closer, the sky shifted from gray to a soft purple hue, coaxing me to settle on one of the stationary benches lining the platform. Shadows played tricks in the changing light, teasing movements that seemed just beyond grasp, shadows of the horses swaying gently as if moved by a melody unheard. Retrieving my phone to check the time, I was met with a blank screen, the battery inexplicably drained. The air grew cooler, carrying scents of autumn leaves and faint whispers of cotton candy and summer nights. Goosebumps prickled my skin, unrelated to the dropping temperature. In the twilight's embrace, details began to shift at the periphery of my vision. The mirrors reflected fleeting scenes, a kaleidoscope of lights, swirling skirts, and hints of a carousel in full motion. Yet when I turned to focus, all returned to stillness and decay. A breeze carried a phantom melody, a tune woven into the very fabric of the air, elusive yet familiar like a childhood memory on the cusp of recollection. Nightfall enveloped me, and the carousel seemed to draw in the feeble starlight, its tarnished surfaces gleaming with a muted glow. Remaining seated, I felt as though I bore witness to a timeless ritual, a dance of memory and time playing out in whispers and shadows, hidden to all but the most attentive observers. When I eventually rose to depart, my limbs felt weighted, as if I had lingered for ages instead of mere moments. My watch, frozen at 6:47, offered no clue as to the hour. Each step away felt like a journey through resistance, as if wading through a dense current. Glancing back, the carousel stood silent yet singing, a chorus of memories and moments cascading into the night. I comprehended then. It was not truly silent, but rather a symphony of the past, audible only to those who dared to listen. The thought of returning flitted through my mind, but a part of me understood its transient nature, a fragment suspended between seconds, as elusive as capturing stardust in cupped hands. To this day, as I close my eyes in the stillness of night, I sense the gentle sway of that twilight hour, the ghostly melody of the carousel's forgotten song lingering in the spaces between wakefulness and dreams. And in those fleeting moments, I ponder if perhaps a fragment of me remains there, ensnared in that eternal dusk attuned to the silent music of memory and time. Story 3. In the quiet of a cold night, a plain package materialized on my doorstep, a mystery without a sender's name. Within its confines lay a solitary letter, folded with precision and scripted in an elegant hand unknown to me. The scent of cedar and ink lingered in the air, weaving a subtle spell as I unraveled the enigmatic message within, a promise to unearth the veiled truths concealed deep within the shadows of my past. Nestled in the embrace of my beloved reading chair, its aged leather whispering beneath me, I succumbed to the gentle lullaby of raindrops tap dancing on my window pane. Bathed in the amber glow cast by my trusty desk lamp, the room came alive with dancing shadows, each one whispering secrets of their own. The letter commenced with words that stole my breath away. I know about the music box. Long lost to time, or so I had thought, my grandmother's cherished music box held a melody that haunted my memories, its tune forever elusive. Every detail described in the letter resonated with familiarity. The delicate rose carvings, the chip in the corner from a childhood mishap, and the lid's occasional reluctance to open. As my eyes traced the elegant script, my fingers danced along the paper's delicate creases. The writer delved into recollections only I should possess. The hidden nook behind the garden wall's loose brick, the recurring dream of an unyielding door, and the collection of mysterious keys that had found their way into my possession over the years. The steady cadence of the grandfather clock's ticking served as a backdrop to my racing thoughts, each paragraph unfurling a new layer of the intricate tapestry woven through the disparate moments of my existence. The notion that these occurrences were not mere chance, but deliberate markers along an unseen path took root in my mind. A glance towards the brass hook where my keys hung caught my attention. Had they always hung in that precise arrangement? As if beckoned by an invisible force, I rose, drawn towards them. Each key now seemed to whisper its own tale. The weathered skeleton key, the ornate brass find from the garden, the unassuming silver key that materialized in my coat pocket. The letter hinted at a pattern, a concealed sequence threading through the seemingly random events of my life. It referenced the recurring numbers I had brushed off, the uncanny coincidences that guided my steps, and the dreams that blurred the lines between reality and memory. In the soft glow of the lamplight, my cat, Shadow, observed me from her perch, her gaze akin to molten gold. Outside, the rain continued its serenade, cocooning me in a tranquil solitude as I delved deeper into the labyrinthine mystery unfurling before me. The writer's words painted a portrait of an intricate web of events, converging towards this pivotal moment. Retrieving my journal filled with fragmented notes on dreams and inexplicable phenomena, I found the letter weaving coherence into the chaos, urging me to perceive the broader canvas obscured by proximity. As midnight approached, the lamp's warmth softened, enveloping my study in a dreamlike haze. The letter's conclusion presented a choice: to linger in blissful ignorance, or embrace the enigma that had always encircled me. Assurance of enlightenment mingled with the caution that once the patterns were unveiled, they could never be unseen. Sinking back into my chair, the weight of revelation draped over me like a comforting shroud. The letter's directive lingered in the air. When ready to learn more, play your grandmother's melody at midnight. Yet, the melody had long faded into silence. The music box vanished. Or had it? The writer's intimate knowledge hinted at a different truth. My gaze drifted towards the ancient trunk nestled in the corner, an heirloom passed through generations, its contents a mystery locked away. Perhaps the answers sought lay within its time-worn confines, awaiting their moment of revelation. As the rain dwindled, a profound stillness descended, punctuated solely by the rhythmic symphony of my cat's breath and the grandfather clock's unwavering pulse. Reverently folding the letter and tucking it away in my journal, I acknowledged a subtle yet irreversible shift in the tapestry of my existence. With a heart brimming with patience and curiosity, I prepared for slumber, the letter's echoes intermingling with distant strains of the music box melody. Anticipation of dreams imbued with newfound significance enveloped me, heralding the dawn of an extraordinary odyssey into the veiled recesses of my personal narrative. Story 4. Amid a solitary stroll near the brink of a dense forest, a soft, nearly imperceptible howl jolted me from my thoughts. sending ripples through the lofty treetops. The air was infused with the sharp fragrance of pine and the musty scent of damp earth, creating an atmosphere of intrigue and allure. Peering into the dim recesses of the woods, that eerie sound beckoned me, urging me to unravel the enigmatic secrets veiled just beyond the reach of light. The afternoon sun filtered through the leafy canopy above, casting a mesmerizing pattern of dappled shadows that danced gracefully upon the forest floor. With each step I ventured deeper into the woods. The satisfying crunch of leaves and twigs underfoot echoed through the tranquil surroundings. The air grew denser, saturated with the earthy aroma of moss and decay, yet strangely invigorating in its raw essence. Pulled forward by an inexplicable force, my curiosity eclipsed any hint of apprehension that lingered within me. As I journeyed further, the familiar sounds of the outside world gradually faded into a distant memory. The rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze intensified, orchestrating a delicate symphony of whispers that enveloped me in a soothing embrace. Every now and then, fleeting movements caught my peripheral vision, yet upon turning to investigate, only swaying branches and elusive shadows greeted my gaze. The howl resurfaced, faint and ethereal, blending seamlessly with the rustling wind. This time, it bore a melodic quality, as if woven into the very fabric of the air. The forest fell into a hushed silence, as if holding its breath in anticipation. The birds ceased their melodious tunes, and even the insects hushed their symphony. In the profound stillness, a subtle vibration permeated the air, an energy that tingled through my being, causing the fine hairs on my arms to stand on end. A clearing emerged before me, encircled by a perfect arrangement of trees framing a serene pond. The water's surface mirrored the overcast sky above, resembling a polished obsidian sheet undisturbed by even the gentlest breeze. Approaching cautiously, I noticed a peculiar phenomenon in my reflection. It lagged behind my movements, as though struggling to keep pace with reality. The chill in the air deepened, prompting me to wrap my jacket tighter around my form. It was then that I observed wisps of mist materializing, rising from the earth in delicate tendrils. Cool and velvety against my skin, the mist exuded a subtle luminescence, emitting a soft, pulsating glow that mirrored the forest's rhythmic heartbeat. Standing at the water's edge, I discerned elusive shapes moving within the swirling mist, evanescent forms that dissipated upon direct scrutiny. They resembled deer, yet with a spectral quality, their fluid motions defying the laws of nature. The howl returned, closer now, its ghostly timbre echoing from all directions at once, as if the very essence of the forest was calling out to me. Swaying gently, I found myself ensnared in a tranquil trance, the boundary between the tangible realm and the ethereal beyond growing ever fainter. The trees seemed to lean inward, their gnarled branches extending towards the clearing like curious spectators. Within their contorted silhouettes, ancient and knowing faces seemed to materialize, observing my every gesture with a patient wisdom. Time lost its significance as the light remained unchanged, yet a profound sense of hours slipping away pervaded my consciousness. The mist thickened, transforming the clearing into an isolated isle adrift in a sea of swirling white. The howl echoed once more, its essence transcending mere sound, morphing into an ancient melody that whispered of long-buried secrets and age-old mysteries that predated human presence in these hallowed woods. Suspended between wakefulness and reverie, I felt a gentle presence behind me, the air carrying the fragrance of untamed blossoms and early morning frost. Every instinct urged me to turn, to confront the unknown entity lurking there, yet my body remained frozen in place. A blend of fear and reverence rooted me where I stood, acknowledging the ineffable truth that some enigmas are best left undisturbed. The presence drew nearer, enveloping me in a profound tranquility that resonated with the very soul of the forest. Ancient voices whispered in forgotten tongues, the woodland itself seeming to exhale with a sense of ancient knowing. In that transcendent moment, I comprehended that I had stumbled upon a rare and sacred realm, a sanctum where the veil between the known and the unknowable had worn thin. I never turned to face the presence behind me. Instead, I closed my eyes and surrendered to the haunting melody of the forest, allowing it to wash over my senses in a gentle caress. When I reopened my eyes, the mist had dissipated, and the clearing appeared mundane once more. Yet, as I retraced my steps through the woods, I carried with me the certainty that I had brushed against something extraordinary, an encounter that would forever alter my perception of the world around me. Even now, on tranquil nights when the zephyrs whisper through the trees, a distant, muted howl occasionally reaches my ears. It beckons to me like a half-remembered dream, a subtle reminder that within this world, realms of mystery and wonder persist, patiently awaiting those willing to heed their cryptic song. Story 5. In the quiet solitude of an afternoon dedicated to cleaning the attic, a forgotten treasure revealed itself to me. Among the forgotten relics and dusty trinkets, there hung a portrait that seemed to materialize out of thin air. The figure within the painting, with eyes that seemed to track my every movement, stood against a backdrop of swirling shadows and light, creating an aura of mystery that captivated my senses. As I breathed in the cool, musty air tinged with a hint of lavender, a sense of otherworldly enchantment enveloped me. It felt as though I had stumbled upon a portal to a realm beyond time and space. Each step I took across the creaking wooden floorboards echoed softly, as if the attic itself whispered secrets of the past. Beams of light filtered through the dusty air, casting a spectral glow that danced with motes of floating dust, painting the space with an ethereal luminescence. The portrait, its weathered canvas holding a silent promise of hidden truths, absorbed the light as if it were a living entity, beckoning me closer with a silent invitation. Intrigued by the intricate details of the figure's face, neither distinctly male nor female, yet possessing a timeless quality that felt strangely familiar yet unknown, I found myself drawn into a silent conversation with the enigmatic subject. The artist had captured a knowing smile that hinted at a myriad of untold stories, each waiting to be unveiled. The longer I gazed upon the portrait, the more the background seemed to shift and morph, revealing elusive shapes that defied logic and reason. The scent of lavender permeated the air, growing stronger with each passing moment, mingling with the ancient aroma of aged wood and forgotten memories, creating a cocoon of tranquility amidst the shadows. A gentle breeze, unexplained by the closed windows, stirred the dust into hypnotic patterns, adding to the surreal ambience of the attic. That evening, armed with an old journal discovered amongst my grandmother's possessions, I returned to the attic, eager to unravel the mysteries that surrounded the haunting portrait. Settling into a worn armchair bathed in the warm glow of a lamp, the portrait seemed to come alive, casting deeper shadows behind the figure, while its luminous face exuded a mesmerizing aura. As I delved into the pages of the journal, I uncovered tales of dreams and visions, of encounters with beings existing on the threshold between reality and fantasy. My grandmother's words spoke of an artist who possessed the rare gift of capturing not just appearances, but the essence of time itself within their paintings. With each passage I read, the portrait's presence in the room felt more palpable, as if it were a silent witness to my exploration of its enigmatic nature. Nights turned into weeks, and I found myself immersed in a world where time seemed to lose its grip, each evening spent in the attic akin to stepping into a parallel reality. The portrait became my silent confidant, its mysterious smile a beacon of solace in the ever-shifting shadows of the attic. In the silent hours of the night, when weariness weighed heavy upon my eyelids, I fancied I saw the figure within the portrait subtly change its posture, as if adjusting to maintain its vigil over me. Whispers, like fragments of distant conversations, carried on the breeze that defied explanation, mingling with the intensifying scent of lavender that seemed to infuse the very air I breathed. The pages of my grandmother's journal fluttered as if guided by an unseen hand, often landing on passages that mirrored my own thoughts and musings. One fateful night, as I prepared to depart the attic, a revelation unfolded before my eyes. Within the swirling shadows of the portrait's background, hidden faces emerged, each bearing the same enigmatic smile as the central figure. What puzzled me most was the curious passage of time within the attic, where hours slipped by unnoticed, yet I remained untouched by fatigue in the presence of the portrait. A profound sense of peace washed over me, as if I had finally found my place within a narrative that had been awaiting my arrival all along. My grandmother's journal divulged no clues as to the identity of the artist or the origins of the portrait, leaving its enigma intact and its allure undiminished. I came to realize that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, their unanswered questions serving as gateways to infinite possibilities and wonder. Now, as I pen down this account in the familiar confines of my armchair, the portrait gazes upon me with its eternal gaze, a silent sentinel in the attic's hallowed space. The scent of lavender has become a constant companion, mingling with the whispers that echo from the shadows, creating a symphony of secrets that only the attic walls could comprehend. I often ponder if I am but a fleeting chapter in a saga that spans generations, each viewer of the portrait weaving their own narrative thread into its tapestry of enigma. The portrait hangs in its place on the attic wall, a conundrum unsolved yet beckoning, existing in the delicate balance between reality and dreams, where the boundaries of the known and the imagined blend into an enchanting tapestry of endless discovery. Story 6. Late one night, as I delved into the rarely visited depths of my home's basement, a soft, haunting melody began to caress my ears, drifting through the darkness like a whisper from another time. The sound reverberated off the damp stone walls, mingling with the musty aroma of forgotten secrets and ancient stones. Each note carried with it the weight of a story long buried, yearning to be unearthed. From the moment I first set foot in this basement, I sensed a peculiar energy lingering in the air, a heaviness, a pregnant silence that seemed to hold the very essence of anticipation. The rain above ground whispered down, its gentle patter creating a soothing backdrop to my movements as I ventured further into the shadowed expanse. It had been 2 months since my grandfather passed this house down to me, and countless evenings had been spent wandering through its rooms, yet the basement remained a realm unexplored. Tonight, an invisible force drew me downward, perhaps the unusual warmth emanating from behind the door, or the melodic creaking of the aged wooden steps under my weight. The haunting melody grew clearer as I navigated through the veiled shapes of forgotten furniture. It evoked memories of an antique music box, its notes lingering in the air like wisps of smoke. My flashlight's beam caught the dust motes dancing in a choreographed ballet, responding to the ghostly tune with a grace that seemed almost intentional. Amidst the relics of the past, I stumbled upon an old armchair draped in a white shroud. As I unveiled it, the thick fabric released a shimmering cloud of dust, illuminated by the beam of my torch. The chair exuded elegance, its once rich burgundy velvet now faded but still exquisitely adorned with intricate wooden carvings. A sense of déjà vu washed over me, though I knew I had never laid eyes on this piece before. The melody subtly shifted, growing more defined as I lowered myself into the chair. The velvet greeted my touch with a warmth that hinted at recent occupancy. In that moment, a peculiar realization struck me. There was no echo to my movements, no sound bouncing off the stone walls, only the mysterious melody enveloping me in its ethereal embrace. I closed my eyes, surrendering to the music's embrace. Visions materialized in my mind's eye, scenes of strangers intertwined with a familiarity that defied logic. A woman in a flowing gown, fingers caressing the keys of a piano plucked from faded photographs. A child learning to play, guided by unseen hands. My grandfather, a youthful version I'd never known, beaming as the music filled the room. The basement's temperature shifted, hovering between warmth and chill, creating a liminal space that transcended the physical realm. The air thickened with the scent of aged books, polished wood, and a hint of perfume long faded into memory. My breath synchronized with the melody's cadence, lulling me into a trance-like state. When I reopened my eyes, a curious anomaly caught my attention. The flashlight's shadows moved as if submerged in water, swaying gently to an unseen current. The darkness between the beams pulsed with a subtle luminescence, synchronized with the music's rhythm. Time lost its relevance as I sat there, humming along to a melody ingrained in my soul, despite never having heard it before. The notes spoke of bygone sorrows and joys, of memories etched into the very foundation of the house. Gradually, a tender pressure on my shoulder drew my focus, akin to a comforting hand resting upon me. It was a touch devoid of fear or coldness, more akin to the embrace of a long-lost loved one. The melody swelled, conveying a message that transcended words. The basement held more than mere relics. It cradled stories woven into the fabric of time. When I finally rose from the chair, my movements felt weightless, as if floating in a dream. The melody ebbed, not concluding but melding into the walls themselves, becoming a part of the house's whispered secrets. I understood then that it would forever linger here, nestled within the pauses between heartbeats, within the timeless intervals of existence. Ascending the stairs to depart, I sensed a profound shift within me. Not fear or unease, but a fundamental metamorphosis. The melody had imparted a cryptic wisdom, inscribed in notes rather than words. And now, on tranquil nights, I find myself inexorably drawn back to that armchair in the basement, where the melody continues its eternal serenade, narrating tales to those willing to listen, and grasp that some enigmas are meant to console, not disturb, to envelop, not terrorize. The basement has evolved into my sanctuary, where time meanders languidly and memories pirouette in the shadows. I make no effort to unravel the melody's origin or unravel its mystery. Some things I've come to understand are best left nestled in that gentle interstice between wakefulness and slumber, where music transcends generations and the past extends a tender hand to caress the present. Story 7. As I sifted through a dusty chest tucked away in the forgotten depths of the attic, my fingers brushed against a leather-bound diary, its pages aged to a soft yellow hue by the passage of time. A delicate scent of old paper and vanilla wafted up, wrapping me in a cloak of nostalgia as I delved into its contents. The diary belonged to a woman named Elizabeth, her elegant script weaving intricate tales across the weathered pages, each word a whispered secret from a world veiled in mystery. Seated in a worn armchair, the floorboards groaning softly beneath me, I found myself drawn deeper into Elizabeth's realm. Outside, rain tapped against the attic windows, a gentle lullaby that wove through the air, harmonizing with the cadence of my exploration. Through Elizabeth's musings, I uncovered a peculiar phenomenon that unfolded every night at the stroke of midnight. In hushed tones, she chronicled a soft humming that unfurled from the very walls of her chamber, a melody not of malice, but of enigmatic allure, akin to distant wind chimes carried on a balmy summer breeze. For 7 fleeting minutes, the nocturnal symphony would echo before dissolving into the silence of the night. With each turn of the page, subtle shifts in Elizabeth's narrative unfurled. Her descriptions grew more intricate, especially concerning the play of light in her room during these midnight interludes. Shadows pirouetted and swayed, not menacingly, but as if yearning to impart a message just beyond her grasp. Yet it was her accounts of a recurring dream that captivated me most. In this reverie, she wandered through a boundless library, its tomes cloaked in the same time-worn leather as her diary. Each book, when unfurled, revealed pages inscribed in mirror writing, decipherable only beneath the moon's silvery gaze. The dream's essence always slipped from her grasp upon waking, leaving a residue of profound revelation. As I leafed through the diary, I discovered pressed blooms nestled amidst the pages, violets, forget-me-nots, and sprigs of lavender, each bloom a companion to a tale of her mysterious encounters. The lavender appeared alongside descriptions of potent humming nights, when the very air thrummed with unspoken truths. Elizabeth hinted at a dawning realization that she bore a weighty responsibility, a legacy she cryptically referred to as the inheritance. The attic's temperature dipped imperceptibly as I neared the final entries. Elizabeth's last words exuded a serene understanding, a tranquility born of comprehension rather than inquiry. She spoke of embracing the purpose behind her midnight visitors, though their identities remained veiled in her prose. Her penmanship conveyed a passing of wisdom, a torch handed from one guardian to the next. Closing the diary, a newfound warmth radiated from its cover, as if it harbored an ember of inner light. The rain outside continued its gentle serenade, now imbued with a hidden significance. I glanced at my watch, pondering whether, at the stroke of midnight, I too might catch a whisper of that mysterious humming. In the days that ensued, I kept the diary close, though its pages remained unturned. In those quiet moments between wakefulness and slumber, I strained to catch echoes of distant wind chimes. Nestled on my bedside table, the diary exuded a comfort mingled with enigma. On certain nights, when the moon held court in the sky and the world hushed to a whisper, the shadows in my chamber seemed to waltz with a newfound grace. Though I had yet to pen my own entries, I began to press flowers within the diary's blank spaces, a silent tribute to Elizabeth's legacy. A whisper of intuition nudged me, suggesting that one day, in the fullness of time, I would unravel the enigma of the inheritance. Until then, I found solace in the knowledge that some mysteries unfurl gently, like petals unfurling beneath the moon's gentle gaze. Story 8. On a gray morning, I strolled across a solitary bridge enveloped in a dense, otherworldly mist. The air carried a chill, infused with the scents of dew and moss. As I moved forward, the fog gradually unveiled phantom-like forms gliding along the railing, resembling memories in motion. It seemed as though the mist was a sentient shroud, softly beckoning me to heed the whispers carried on the wind. Each of my steps echoed gently on the aged wooden planks, blending into a soothing rhythm with the murmurs of the early hours. The bridge extended endlessly into the mist, its railings flickering in and out of sight like half-forgotten dreams. Droplets of water clung to my coat, creating a delicate shimmer under the faint light filtering through the clouds above. A peculiar discovery caught my attention. The sound of my footsteps began to shift. Each footfall carried a lingering echo, as if someone was walking just out of sync with me, creating a subtle, almost imperceptible resonance. I halted, and the echo persisted for one more step before dissipating into silence. The mist swirled around me, forming intricate patterns that almost seemed meaningful, like ancient symbols lost to time. I reached out to touch the fog, observing as it parted around my fingers and reassembled in elegant spirals. The atmosphere felt pregnant with potential, laden with unspoken tales. In the distance, a deep, melodious bell chimed, its origin ambiguous. Ahead or behind, I couldn't discern. The resonant tone, more felt than heard, reverberated through the wooden planks beneath my feet, tolling thrice before blending into the ambient sounds of droplets and gentle breezes. Pressing on, I noticed small objects carefully positioned along the railing, mundane items that seemed out of place in this mystical realm. A leather-bound notebook, its pages slightly damp yet immaculate. A ticking pocket watch displaying an impossible time. A blue silk ribbon knotted flawlessly. each item spaced precisely 7 steps apart, as if awaiting a destined recipient. The mist began to thin, unveiling more of the bridge ahead, yet a subtle change emerged. The wooden planks appeared weathered in some sections, fresh in others, as if the bridge coexisted in multiple temporal planes. I observed that the sound of my footsteps altered with the shifting wood, creating a subtle symphony of varied tones and echoes. A gentle breeze arose, carrying the fragrances of rain and something sweeter, perhaps lilacs or honeysuckle, though no blooms were in sight. The scent seemed purposeful, guiding me back and forth, as if intent on revealing a hidden truth. I followed, retracing my steps, and noted that the objects had rearranged themselves along the railing, though I had encountered no other soul on the bridge. The bell tolled once more, nearer this time, its timbre subtly transformed. This time, it seemed to convey words within its resonance, though just beyond my comprehension. The mist responded to the sound, sculpting shapes resembling human figures that walked alongside me. They moved with fluid grace, never solidifying, yet hinting at familiar gestures, an outstretched hand, a turned head, a gentle bow. I slowed my pace, synchronizing with these ethereal companions who seemed to impart insights about the bridge itself, drawing my attention to subtle nuances previously overlooked. Carved into the railings were symbols, faint beneath layers of time and weathering. They evoked musical notes, arranged in enigmatic configurations hinting at a deeper significance. The air grew cooler, not uncomfortably so, but in a manner that heightened awareness of warmth, grounding me in the present as my thoughts drifted into contemplation. I realized my breath had harmonized with the mist's gentle undulations, creating a tranquil cadence that blurred the boundaries of time. More objects materialized along the railing, a child's drawing encased in a weathered frame, a softly glowing key, a mirror reflecting only mist. Each item harbored its own enigma, yet together wove a tapestry of meaning just beyond grasp, like words on the verge of articulation. The bridge softly groaned beneath me, not in weakness, but as if conversing in a language of its own. Its sounds intertwined with a distant bell, now tolling rhythmically, marking time in a cadence diverging from the pocket watch's ticking witnessed earlier. Approaching what felt like the bridge's midpoint, the mist adopted a new urgency, swirling into a gentle vortex around me. The spectral figures multiplied, their movements deliberate, engaging in a slow, graceful ballet that blurred reality with memory, the present with the past. A feather-light touch graced my shoulder, evanescent as mist, yet leaving a profound sense of recognition, as if gently recalling a forgotten truth. The warmth persisted, familiar and comforting, just beyond conscious reach. The bridge continued to unfurl through the mist, revealing sections that echoed, each subtly distinct, each offering its truth. The objects reappeared along the railing, metamorphosed, the notebook now open to a blank page, the pocket watch displaying a different impossible time, the ribbon untied, yet pristine. The bridge's end eluded me that morning. Perhaps an end existed not, or perhaps it held a deeper purpose. The mist remained a steadfast companion, imparting quiet lessons on time and memory, on the allure of uncertainty and the solace of unanswered questions. The bell tolled persistently, beckoning me to that ephemeral realm between breaths, where the mist still waltzed over the solitary bridge, eager to share its mysteries with those who tread its length with an open heart and tranquil mind. Story 9. Amid the restoration of my ancestral home, a peculiar crack in a weathered stone wall caught my eye, hinting at a hidden recess waiting to be unveiled. With gentle precision, I coaxed open the concealed door, revealing a quaint chamber cloaked in the dust of ages, permeated by the delicate scent of weathered leather and earth. Within that hushed enclave, each shift of the settling stones seemed to murmur of tales carefully shrouded from the light of day. Though modest in size, the chamber held a peculiar allure, its contents arranged with a mysterious intent. A solitary wooden chair, its surface weathered by the passage of time, stood sentinel before the far wall. Nestled beside it, a diminutive table cradled a brass lamp, its luster subdued yet retaining a faint glimmer in the dim, filtered light. A profound stillness pervaded the air, as if the very room held its breath in anticipation. Drawn inexorably to the chair, I traversed the floor carpeted in a thick layer of dust, my footsteps muffled in the silence. As I neared, the intricate carvings adorning the chair's armrests captivated my gaze, sinuous spirals and fluid motifs that seemed to undulate with a life of their own, their craftsmanship a testament to untold hours of artistry. However, it was the wall facing the chair that held me spellbound. Unlike its rugged counterparts, this section exuded a polished sheen, its surface marked by faint etchings, not quite script, but rather abstract patterns reminiscent of shadowy branches or celestial pathways. Time itself seemed to warp within that chamber. The soft rhythm of my breath echoed with a hollow resonance, while the dust motes pirouetted in the scant beam of light, their movements casting a hypnotic spell. Seating myself in the ancient chair, its contours molding to my form as though awaiting my arrival, I was once more drawn to the brass lamp. Despite the layers of neglect suggesting abandonment, its metal yielded a warmth beneath my touch, as if it had recently cradled a flame. Beneath its base, a small key lay concealed, its brass hue harmonizing seamlessly with the lamp's aged patina. The key bore a curious design, not ostentatious but purposeful, its geometric motifs evoking images of mathematical equations or musical notes. As evening descended, a subtle shift transformed the chamber's ambient light. Shadows deepened and acquired texture, their movements across the marked wall unfolding in a dance choreographed by a mysterious melody. The etchings seemed to respond to these shadowy pirouettes, revealing or concealing themselves in sync with the ebb and flow of darkness. Hours slipped by unnoticed as I sat enraptured, entranced by the interplay of light and shadow, attuned to the whispered secrets woven into the stone walls. At times, peripheral visions hinted at fleeting movements, insubstantial whispers of presence, akin to the fading memory of a departed soul. The key remained a comforting enigma in my grasp, its significance elusive yet palpable. Despite my thorough search, no lock suitable for the key presented itself. Nonetheless, its presence bore weight, as if responding to a question not yet posed. With the advent of night, the chamber assumed a new guise. Darkness enveloped the space in a velvety embrace, thick with latent possibilities. The wall's etchings began to emit a faint luminescence, barely perceptible yet undeniably present. Patterns coalesced on the verge of comprehension, akin to half-remembered words in a forgotten tongue. Night after night, I found myself drawn back to the chamber, lured by its tranquil seclusion and enigmatic charm. Occasionally, I would bring a book, though its pages remained untouched, eclipsed by the contemplative silence that enveloped me. The chair became a trusted companion, its weathered surface cradling me in a cocoon of solace. The brass lamp, a silent sentinel on the table, never once tempted me to kindle its flame. A sense pervaded that its purpose transcended mere illumination, serving instead as a vessel of recollection, though of what I could not discern. The key, too, retained its air of mystery, its lock elusive yet integral to the chamber's enigma. Months drifted by since my initial discovery, yet the chamber's mysteries endured unscathed. Gradually, a realization dawned upon me. Perhaps the true secret lay not in the walls, the chair, or the unyielding lock awaiting the key. Could it be that the essence of this space lay in its detachment from the relentless march of time and worry, offering a sanctuary where queries remained unvoiced and silence resounded louder than speech? Seated in the ancient chair, witness to the shadowy ballet on the marked wall, the brass key a familiar weight in my hand, I found myself drifting into the liminal realm between thought and slumber. In those fleeting moments, I fancied I could discern the echo of whispered confidences, a chorus of silent voices interwoven with the chamber's eternal tale. Story 10. The hotel's sign shimmered softly in the misty night, casting a surreal glow that beckoned me forward. The doorman greeted me with a subtle smile, and the aroma of ancient wood and polished wax enveloped me as I traversed the lobby. My room, unassuming yet cozy, cradled me into a deep slumber, my body weary from the travels of the day. As dawn broke, I descended to the reception area, only to find emptiness where the hotel once stood. A vacant lot stretched before me, the tall grass swaying gently in the morning breeze. The air carried the crisp scent of dew and untamed flowers, a stark contrast to the opulent atmosphere of the hotel that lingered in my mind. I struggled to reconcile the reality before me with the vivid memories of the night before. Every detail remained etched in my mind with pristine clarity. The weight of the antique brass key in my hand, the plush burgundy carpet underfoot, the golden leaf pattern on the hallway wallpaper that seemed to dance in the flickering light of the sconces, all of it felt as tangible as if I were still there. My fingers traced the memory of resting against the mahogany desk while signing the guest register, the leather-bound book feeling substantial and rich beneath my touch. The ink from the fountain pen flowed elegantly as I inscribed my name, the doorman's approving nod a lingering image. The room itself exuded understated luxury, with velvet curtains framing tall windows overlooking a serene courtyard garden. Lavender-scented linens draped the bed, while a solitary rose graced the bedside table. The soft sounds of the vintage radiator and the gentle ticking of an antique clock lulled me into a peaceful slumber. Yet, it was the haunting strains of a piano melody that resonated most deeply. The unfamiliar yet hauntingly nostalgic notes drifted through the air as I drifted off, wrapping me in a cocoon of tranquility. I questioned my sanity, retracing every step from the mysterious evening. The brass key, engraved with the number 247, remained a tangible reminder of the inexplicable night. Its presence in my pocket was undeniable, grounding me in a reality that seemed to slip further away with each passing moment. Desperate for answers, I sought clues from the locals, only to be met with baffled looks and hurried denials of the hotel's existence. The archives yielded no information, leaving me adrift in a sea of uncertainty. Night after night, the scent of polished wood and aged leather wafted through my dreams, accompanied by the distant strains of the piano melody. The music held a cryptic message just beyond my grasp, teasing my consciousness with its elusive familiarity. The brass key now rests on my bedside table, its aged surface gleaming faintly in the darkness. A silent sentinel of a night that may have been a figment of my imagination, yet its weight and reality are undeniable. I ponder the enigma of the hotel that vanished with the dawn, the music that echoes only in my mind, and the phantom guests who may have wandered its corridors. Perhaps one fog-laden evening, I will stumble upon that ethereal establishment once more, the doorman's knowing smile awaiting my return. Until that elusive moment, I keep the key close, a silent witness to a night of mysteries and memories that refuse to fade. Story 11. Amidst the hushed whispers of history and the scent of aged wood, I found myself in a local museum of historic portraits, drawn to a painting that seemed to hold a secret. Amongst the Victorian family depicted in their finest attire, there lurked a figure in the background, barely visible, its form a mere suggestion among shadows. The gallery was bathed in the soft glow of autumn sunlight filtering through tall windows, casting long shadows that danced across polished floors. Dust motes floated lazily in the golden beams, creating an atmosphere of tranquil mystery. As I stood before the enigmatic painting, time seemed to slow, and the air grew cooler, as if a winter's chill had settled within the gallery. My gaze was fixated on the hidden figure, its presence subtly shifting with each passing moment. The brushwork of that mysterious detail appeared different, newer, as if it belonged to a different time altogether. Lost in contemplation, I was startled by a soft voice behind me. The curator, a silver-haired woman with wire-rimmed glasses, spoke of the painting's history, a tale of an artist who vanished before its completion, and a background figure that seemed to materialize out of thin air. Visitors over the years had reported seeing various forms in the hidden figure, all agreeing that it watched them back. As the curator spoke, the quality of light in the gallery altered, casting a momentary shadow over the space. In that fleeting darkness, I could swear the figure in the painting moved closer to the family, no longer hidden behind the curtain. The curator mentioned that the painting seemed to favor certain viewers, revealing its secrets only to those it chose. That night, haunted by the curator's words, I drifted into a restless sleep, filled with visions of painted figures stepping out of their frames to wander through endless halls. Subsequent visits to the museum only deepened the mystery, as subtle changes in the painting hinted at secrets beyond mere artistry. The hidden figure remained a silent guardian of secrets, a watcher in oils and shadow, revealing itself to those deemed worthy. The painting held a fascination beyond its brushstrokes, serving as a portal to a realm where boundaries blurred between observer and observed, between reality and artistry. Each visit to the museum brought new revelations, new whispers of the figure's secrets. And as I sat in the quiet gallery, bathed in the perfect light, I couldn't help but wonder if the figure was watching me as closely as I watched it, our gazes locked across the ethereal threshold that separated our worlds. The portrait still hangs in that gallery, a silent sentinel waiting for those attuned to its mysteries. And perhaps in its depths lie secrets that only those who dare to truly see can uncover, the hidden truths that bridge the gap between the tangible and the unknown. Story 12. Amidst a labyrinth of winding back streets on a rainy night, I chanced upon a mural adorned with vibrant graffiti that shimmered in the moist darkness. The colors pulsed and shifted, almost breathing with life, as if yearning to convey a hidden message. The sharp scent of spray paint mingled with the earthy perfume of rain-soaked concrete, casting a spell of fascination and unease over me in this urban mystery. Drawn like a moth to a flame, I approached the wall, my footsteps a soft echo on the slick pavement. Raindrops created a gentle melody as they trickled down the luminous artwork, under the faint glow of distant street lamps. The colors undulated and melded like liquid light, rich purples blending into electric blues, serene greens mingling with soft amber tones. With each blink, the patterns subtly shifted, momentarily forming familiar shapes amidst the abstract swirls, a face, a door, a key before dissolving back into a mesmerizing chaos. The rain's rhythmic percussion against metal structures and overflowing drains wove a hypnotic symphony in the ambient air. My fingers traced the air near the wall, following the graceful curves of light, casting soft reflections on my skin, as if I were merging with the enigmatic artwork. A warm breeze carried scents of wet earth and night-blooming flowers, mingling with the lingering sweetness of spray paint. Time seemed to warp in that space. Reality's edges softened, becoming dreamlike. From the corner of my eye, shadows seemed to dance in harmony with the shifting colors. Not menacing, but inquisitive, silent witnesses to my awe. The gentle rain continued its enchantment, each drop capturing and reflecting the ethereal glow. The pattern began to feel oddly familiar, like a half-remembered dream or a forgotten melody. Symbols repeated themselves, spirals, starbursts, hinting at a hidden language of light and shadow. The air grew warmer as I studied the wall, a gentle static charge tingling on my skin. The colors pulsed in sync with my heartbeat, forging a meditative link between observer and art. My reflection in a puddle at my feet, distorted by ripples, seemed clearer than expected in the dimness. Other faces briefly appeared beside mine in the water, tender, curious expressions vanishing like morning mist when focused upon. Rings of colored light formed in the expanding puddle, carrying fragments of the mural's radiance. Time slipped away in that surreal realm, minutes or hours indistinguishable. The glowing artwork seemed to narrate a tale, though its essence remained just beyond my grasp, like fleeting memories of a perfect dream. Stepping back, I realized the rain had ceased, unnoticed by me. The air lingered with the scent of petrichor, the colors on the wall now settled, as if their message had been conveyed. Taking a few more steps back, I etched the scene into my mind. The reflections, the whisper of wind, the warmth in the air. My shadow bore traces of the mysterious hues, as if I had absorbed a part of the experience. To this day, those colors flicker at the corner of my vision, in rain-streaked windows, in sunlight filtering through leaves, in the realm between slumber and wakefulness. The alley eludes me, though I've sought it. Yet on tranquil nights, rain tapping on my window, I can close my eyes and sense the gentle rhythm of that luminous graffiti, forever spinning its endless tale to those who pause to listen. Story 13. In the midst of a leisurely exploration through the forgotten passageways of an abandoned subway tunnel, a peculiar sight captured my attention. A soft, unearthly glow beckoned from the depths of the darkness, its gentle luminescence casting a spell of curiosity upon me. The air within the tunnel carried a musty tang, a blend of rust and damp concrete, as if whispering tales of bygone days. With each step I took towards the mysterious glow, a sense of ancient secrets buried beneath the city's surface enveloped me, urging me to unravel the enigma it held. The faint hum of distant machinery provided a serene symphony as I delved further into the underground labyrinth. My footfalls, barely audible against the curved walls, seemed to harmonize with my breathing, creating a tranquil rhythm that echoed in the stillness. The air grew cooler, carrying hints of mineral-rich springs and weathered stone, infusing the tunnel with a serene ambiance. Ahead, the ethereal glow remained steady, casting delicate shadows that danced along the worn surfaces of the tunnel, captivating my gaze. The light pulsed gently, as if breathing in a hypnotic cadence, drawing me deeper into its mesmerizing embrace. Water droplets echoed like a quiet melody, harmonizing with the natural symphony of the underground. The faint sound evoked memories of wind chimes swaying in a gentle breeze, a soothing counterpoint to my quiet footsteps. Weathered maintenance signs, now faded and peeling, caught the mystical light, transforming into abstract art pieces that sparked my imagination. The source of the glow remained elusive, yet ever alluring, just out of reach around each bend. Yet I felt no urgency to uncover its secrets, content to let the mystery unfold at its own pace. The tunnel's curvature played tricks on sound, carrying whispers from seemingly impossible distances, faint conversations that could have been echoes of decades long past. Time seemed to lose its grip in this subterranean realm, as the temperature held steadfastly cool and the air flowed in gentle currents, carrying the scent of ancient minerals and aged metal. My fingertips traced the rough texture of the tunnel walls, alternating between rough concrete and smooth patches worn down by water over countless years. Venturing further, I noticed subtle shifts in the environment. The graffiti grew more intricate, adorned with symbols of unknown origin that seemed to shift and transform when viewed from different angles. Illuminated by the mystical glow, these patterns appeared almost alive, as if attempting to convey a message beyond my comprehension. Gradually, the tunnel widened into an old maintenance chamber, where the enigmatic light gathered like liquid sunlight, casting soft, undulating shadows that danced across the walls. Dust-covered equipment created elaborate silhouettes, each shadow a silent storyteller of the workers who once inhabited these underground passages. At the heart of the chamber stood an ancient control panel, its surface coated with a fine layer of sparkling mineral deposits, illuminated by the strange light. Some of the indicator lights flickered in a slow, mesmerizing pattern, resonating with the gentle vibrations that filled the room. A weathered logbook, its pages yellowed with age, lay open on a nearby desk, its entries penned by different hands over the decades, recounting encounters with the same mysterious glow that now mesmerized me. Some described a sense of peace in its presence, while others spoke of vivid dreams that lingered long after leaving the tunnel. The final entry, dated just months prior, hinted that I was not the sole recent visitor to this forgotten realm. As if acknowledging my presence, the glow pulsed softly, drawing me to an aged chair, its cracked leather offering a comfortable perch as I pored over the logbook. Each account added a layer to the mystery, yet none unveiled the true nature or purpose of the light. Surrounded by the gentle glow and the soothing sounds of the underground, a profound connection to those who came before me washed over me. The light continued its hypnotic dance, and in that moment, I realized that perhaps some mysteries were not meant to be solved but cherished in quiet contemplation. The final pages of the logbook remained blank, awaiting new tales from those who followed in my footsteps. Though tempted to add my own encounter, I resisted, understanding that some enigmas were best left untouched, inviting future explorers to uncover their secrets with fresh eyes and open hearts. Retracing my steps through the tunnel, the glow gradually faded behind me, its warmth lingering in my thoughts, a gentle reminder that not all mysteries need to evoke fear. Even now, I feel the pull of that tunnel, drawn by the allure of the mysterious light that continues its eternal dance in the shadows, awaiting the next inquisitive soul to bask in its gentle radiance. During quiet moments, I find solace in reflecting on the experience, finding peace in the realization that some questions are better left unanswered, their intrigue serving as a soothing lullaby for the wandering mind. Story 14. On a crisp, starlit night, I ascended the rusted fire escape of an aged apartment building and stumbled upon a collection of mesmerizing graffiti murals adorning the rooftop. The vivid hues and intricate patterns wove a narrative of fervor and sorrow, basking in the gentle radiance of the city sprawled below. The chill breeze, redolent of urban rain and concrete, enveloped me in a sense of bearing witness to the artistry of an enigmatic, unseen creator. Night after night, I found myself irresistibly drawn back to that elevated haven. Each nocturnal visit unveiled fresh nuances in the artwork, previously unnoticed by my eyes. Delicate spirals of midnight blue twined with silver strokes, forming designs that seemed to dance and transform under the moon's soft caress. The quiet murmur of wind brushing past the neighboring structures provided a tranquil soundtrack to my silent contemplations. I began cataloging the evolving murals, as they never lingered in stagnation. Occasionally a new blossom would unfurl in a corner, its petals painted in deep purples and ghostly whites. Other times, I'd stumble upon mathematical equations seamlessly woven into the backdrop, their numbers and symbols flowing like lyrical verses across the concrete tableau. The building's denizens remained taciturn about the artwork. When I inquired of the elderly woman residing on the topmost floor, she merely offered a serene smile, stating her preference for the elevator. The maintenance worker would shrug nonchalantly, citing restricted access to the roof. Yet there I stood, night after night, an unseen spectator to the art's metamorphosis. One twilight, I brought along my sketchbook, settling into my customary spot, intent on capturing some of the intricate details. That evening, the air bore a weighty humidity, pregnant with promise. As I sketched, I observed faint handprints materializing in the condensation on the glass skylight overhead. They manifested gradually, as if pressed from below, then dissolved like mist at dawn. In a gesture of reverence, I began leaving small offerings for the elusive artist. Fresh tubes of paint, pristine brushes, even a thermos of steaming tea on the chillier nights. By daybreak, the gifts would vanish, replaced by subtle alterations to the murals. A fresh avian figure might perch where I had left the offerings, or a delicate rendering of the tea's steam would be seamlessly integrated into the existing composition. The alterations grew more intimate. Elements of my own existence began surfacing in the artwork. My treasured book depicted on a painted shelf, the pattern of my scarf woven into a border, the exact hue of my eyes mirrored in a painted pool. The artist observed me as I observed their creations. Winter descended, ushering in shorter days and lengthier nights. The rooftop evolved into a meditative haven where time ebbed and flowed uniquely. On occasion, I would arrive to find the paint still glistening under the starlight, the artist's presence elusive. The fresh paint bore no footprints, offering no clues to its originator. During a particularly serene snowfall, I stumbled upon a new addition to the mural, a depiction not of a person, but of a moment. My inaugural night on the rooftop, captured from behind, showcasing a figure gazing at the original mural. The attention to detail was astounding, down to the tousled strands of hair caught in the evening breeze. Yet in the painting, I wasn't alone. A shadowy form stood beside me, extending a hand toward the wall, clutching a brush oozing with starlight. I tentatively reached out to touch my painted likeness, finding my fingertips coated in a fine, shimmering powder that defied the definition of paint. It sparkled like crushed diamonds, and as I observed, it seemed to meld into my skin, leaving a subtle luminescence that echoed the mural's glow. Come morning, an inexplicable urge to create seized me. Unthinkingly, I grasped a brush that had materialized beside me and commenced painting. The colors ebbed like water, like recollection, like reverie. I toiled until daybreak, and upon stepping back, I discerned that my artistic style seamlessly melded with that of the mysterious creator. Now I comprehend why the building's occupants kept silent on the rooftop artist. Certain mysteries are meant to be felt rather than deciphered. Some evenings, I still ascend to that lofty perch, though the purpose, creation, or observation eludes my grasp. The boundary between artist and spectator has blurred, akin to wet paint melding with wet paint, birthing something entirely novel. The murals persist in their evolution, enshrouding our clandestine bond within layers of color and radiance. On tranquil nights, when the stars align in perfect harmony, you might chance upon two shadows painting in unison on that rooftop, one casting a gentle gleam, the other wielding a brush dripping with starlight. Yet upon closer scrutiny, you might discern that both shadows belong to the same individual, neither possessing the solidity of reality. Story 15. Among the relics of yesteryears in my attic, a faded photograph caught my eye, nestled within a weathered album. Gazing at the scene frozen in time, a subtle shift seemed to ripple through the image, as if the figures were stirring from their slumber. A fragrant blend of old roses and aged parchment wafted around me, weaving a tapestry of nostalgia and intrigue in the air. Were the faces in the picture whispering a tale long forgotten, waiting to be unraveled by curious eyes? Bathed in the golden hues of the late afternoon sun filtering through the dusty window, I settled into an ancient rocking chair, its familiar creaks offering a lullaby of comfort. Tracing the worn edges of the photograph with gentle fingertips, I felt the stories etched into its very fibers, each crease a chapter of bygone elegance. The garden party captured in the image unfolded before me, a tableau of grace and charm lost to time. Amidst the frozen revelry of ladies in flowing gowns and gentlemen in dapper attire, one figure beckoned my attention. A woman in a pearl-white dress stood apart, her enigmatic gaze fixed on the camera, hinting at untold secrets veiled beneath her serene countenance. A peculiar chill brushed against my skin, mingling with the sweet scent of roses that now enveloped the attic in a delicate embrace. Closing my eyes briefly, I surrendered to the hush of the attic, only to find a subtle transformation awaiting when I reopened them. The light in the photograph had shifted, pulsating with a newfound warmth that infused the once static scene with life. The woman in white appeared to move, her hand reaching towards an unseen horizon beyond the frame, beckoning me to follow her into the hidden depths of the past. Entranced by the shifting tableau before me, the boundaries of reality blurred as whispers of a forgotten era filled the air. The rocking chair's creaks melded with the distant strains of old-time melodies, while the aroma of roses mingled with the tantalizing scents of Earl Grey tea and freshly baked pastries. Past and present intertwined, merging into a dreamscape, where the pastel figures danced on the precipice of memory. As I delved deeper into the photograph, nuances previously unseen unfolded before my eyes. Details once overlooked now emerged. A teacup poised on a table, a butterfly suspended in flight, the world within the frame pulsating with a hidden vitality. Time ebbed and flowed, carrying me along its gentle current as I sat enraptured, a silent observer of a forgotten era. The woman in white, her eyes a mirror to my own, held a silent communion across the expanse of time, her pendant catching the light in a mesmerizing dance. A connection, woven through the threads of ancestry, whispered its secrets to me, bridging the chasm between past and present with a delicate touch. As twilight descended upon the attic, casting shadows over the once luminous scene, the photograph returned to its quiet slumber, the figures frozen in eternal reverie. The waltz that had serenaded my journey faded into the background, leaving only the fading scent of roses mingling with the musty embrace of the attic. Replacing the photograph in its rightful place, I descended the stairs with a newfound weight resting against my heart, my grandmother's pendant, a talisman of forgotten tales and timeless mysteries. In the stillness of the evening, echoes of a distant waltz lingered in the air, a reminder of the enigmatic dance between past and present, where secrets whispered and memories intertwined. Some questions, I realized, are meant to linger in the hazy twilight of uncertainty, like wisps of fog drifting between realms. The woman in white had entrusted me with her secrets, a silent pact between kindred spirits, separated by the gossamer veil of time. And so I embraced the gentle mysteries that lingered in the space between reality and reverie, knowing that some stories are meant to be cherished as fleeting whispers in the tapestry of memory. Story 16. In the midst of caring for my humble backyard garden, I stumbled upon a set of intricate footprints etched into the moist, fertile soil. These tracks were small yet purposeful, vanishing into a thick cluster of tangled shrubs. The air carried a subtle blend of earthy scents and blossoming flowers, laced with an enigmatic undertone. As I knelt to trace the path, a quiet sensation of being observed enveloped me. The afternoon sunlight filtered through the canopy above, creating a mesmerizing dance of shadows on the ground. My garden had always been my refuge, a place where time seemed to slow down, and the chaos of the world faded away. The gentle rustle of leaves and the melodic chirping of birds typically brought me peace, but today held an air of mystery. Running my fingers over one of the footprints, I felt the cool dampness of the soil. These prints were unlike any animal tracks, too small for a cat, too precise for a bird, and distinctly human-like in shape. The spacing between them hinted at a deliberate, careful stride rather than the haphazard markings of wildlife. Following the trail deeper into my garden, the scent of jasmine grew stronger, permeating the air. My wind chimes hung still, unaffected by the gentle breeze, intensifying the eerie ambiance. The footprints led me to my aged stone fountain, its gentle murmur serving as a calming backdrop to my exploration. Each evening, I found myself drawn back to the garden, witnessing the mysterious prints vanish with the day's end, only to reappear in altered patterns come morning. Sometimes they encircled the rose bushes, other times they wandered through the herb garden, but they always ended at the thicket, as if the creator vanished into the foliage. I began leaving small gifts near the fountain, ripe berries from my garden, tiny bouquets of wildflowers, and dabs of honey in ceramic bowls. Each dawn, the offerings vanished, replaced by curious tokens, perfectly coiled shells unknown to me, stones that seemed to radiate under the moon's glow, and intricate designs sketched in the soil with unfamiliar seeds. Curious whispers from the neighbors' children floated over the fence, intrigued by the garden's quiet metamorphosis. The flowers bloomed with newfound vibrancy, and long struggling plants flourished unexpectedly. Moths and butterflies graced the garden in unprecedented numbers, their iridescent wings shimmering with unnameable colors. One serene evening, as the sun painted the sky in soft pastels, I settled on my weathered wooden bench beside the fountain. The air was heavy with the perfume of nocturnal blooms, and fireflies commenced their gentle ballet above the garden beds. Closing my eyes to savor the fountain's melody, I caught the faintest rustle of movement from the thicket. When I opened my eyes, a diminutive figure sat at the fountain's rim, no taller than a child. Its form wavered between solidity and transparency, akin to morning mist touched by the first light of dawn. We shared a silent gaze, devoid of fear or astonishment, as if this encounter had been destined since the appearance of the first footprint. The being exuded a profound sense of tranquility, surpassing any peace I had ever known. Its eyes mirrored an ancient wisdom, akin to the intricate patterns of nature, the spirals of shells, and the symmetry of petals. Without words, I comprehended that my garden transcended its physical boundaries. It was a gateway, a junction between realms. As twilight deepened into night, the figure gradually faded, leaving behind a water-filled footprint that gleamed like starlight. The garden felt altered thereafter, not vacant, but brimming with gentle possibilities. The footprints still emerged sporadically, and the offerings persisted, yet I no longer sought to unravel the mystery of their origin. Instead, I nurtured my garden with a newfound purpose, acknowledging that certain spaces exist between the known and the unknown, between wakefulness and dreaming. The footprints endured as a reminder that magic does not always announce itself grandly. At times it whispers through the soil, leaves delicate imprints in the earth, and transforms our familiar surroundings into something beautifully and peacefully peculiar. Story 17. On a rainy afternoon, I found myself drawn to explore an old trail near a dense forest. The wet ground exuded the fresh scent of moist earth and decaying leaves, while the rain painted small mirror-like puddles along the path. To my surprise, the trail seemed to fade in certain stretches, as though nature itself had swept away all signs of passage. Undeterred, I pressed on, surrounded by droplets and dancing shadows, my heart beating in sync with the inexplicable silence enveloping me. The gentle patter of rain against leaves wove a soothing melody as I delved deeper into the misty wilderness. Each step I took on the muddy ground produced soft squelching sounds, deliberate and measured. The air grew heavy with moisture, carrying whispers of something ancient and long forgotten. Strange patterns adorned the moss-covered trees, circular formations so perfect they seemed almost unnatural. Continuing my journey, the rain transformed into a gentle mist, casting an unusual stillness over the forest. The trail ahead would materialize clearly one moment, only to fade into obscurity the next, reappearing further down the path. It was as if the very route I followed was alive, breathing in synchrony with the passing moments, beckoning me onward with a gentle, unseen hand. Time seemed to warp in this mystical realm. My watch continued its steady ticking, yet the minutes stretched and compressed unpredictably. The shifting gray light distorted my sense of time, leaving me unsure of how long I had been walking. I found myself pausing frequently to observe the mesmerizing way the mist caressed certain trees while avoiding others entirely. Deeper within the forest, I stumbled upon a remarkable discovery. Patches of ground where my footprints vanished moments after I made them. as though the earth itself was slowly erasing any trace of my presence. The soil beneath my feet felt different, almost sentient, like walking on velvet. An imperceptible hum vibrated through the air, resonating deep within my chest. I began noticing more subtle anomalies. Clearings appeared where rain defied gravity, rising in lazy spirals before dissipating into the canopy above. Stones along the path shifted positions when I averted my gaze, arranging themselves in intricate patterns visible only from certain angles. Yet, rather than fear, these phenomena filled me with wonder and tranquility. The forest's symphony grew richer. Beyond the rainfall, I discerned distant wind chimes, though no metal hung from the ancient branches. The melodic sound trailed me, elusive yet comforting, weaving through the trees like threads of silver in an unseen tapestry. My breath synced with this ethereal rhythm, calming my mind to a state of serene alertness. As the day progressed, the trail's vanishing act intensified. Entire sections would dissolve, leaving me standing on untouched forest floor with no clear direction. Yet, an instinctual guidance led me forward, a natural intuition as effortless as breathing. The disappearing path was not a riddle to unravel, but a lesson in perceiving the forest through new eyes. The mist started to shimmer with subtle hues, pale blues and soft purples pulsating with an inner radiance. I watched as tiny luminescent specks floated through the air, resembling stars descending in slow motion. They responded to my gestures, swirling in graceful patterns at the slightest movement. Upon deciding to retrace my steps, a profound realization dawned on me. The vanishing trail was not about disappearance, but about assimilation, about merging seamlessly with the ancient woods. It had taught me to navigate the forest without leaving a mark, to coexist harmoniously with the enigmatic surroundings. The elusive path was a transformative experience, a conduit to something greater than myself. As I made my way back home, the rain resumed its gentle descent. The forest exuded a serene contentment, and I grasped that I had been granted a rare insight into its mysteries. The vanishing trail had guided me not just through the woods, but across the threshold that separates the mundane from the extraordinary. Even now, I can envision the alluring pull of that mysterious path, ever-changing, ever-instructive, forever dissolving and re-emerging like a breath upon a mirror. Story 18. On an unremarkable evening disrupted by a sudden downpour, I sought shelter beneath an awning, evading the relentless rain. Amidst the rhythmic patter of droplets on the pavement, a faint, urgent whisper caught my attention, carried by the storm's tumultuous embrace. The air was cool and damp, infused with the scent of freshly rain and the distant rumble of thunder, as if nature itself held a secret yearning to be unveiled. Enthralled by the soothing symphony of raindrops on the canvas above me, I heard the whisper once more, clearer this time, akin to a gentle murmur at my shoulder. Turning, I found emptiness and encroaching dusk, with the street lamps flickering to life, casting a soft halo in the misty atmosphere. The voice, beckoning, guided me towards a narrow alley nestled between weathered brick buildings. Ordinarily, I would have dismissed such a peculiar urge, yet this evening bore a peculiar charm. The whisper, devoid of malice, bore a gentle insistence reminiscent of my grandmother's bedtime stories. As I navigated the alley, the rain softened to a gentle mist, and the warm brick walls exuded a comforting heat, as though harboring centuries of sunlight within. My steps echoed softly in the shallow puddles, creating mesmerizing patterns of light. The alley led to a secluded courtyard, shielded from the world by ancient structures. At its heart stood a weathered fountain, its stone worn smooth by time, a cascade of water mingling with rain in a harmonious melody. The whisper, now emanating from the fountain itself, grew more pronounced as I drew near. Clusters of small blue flowers encircled the base, radiating an otherworldly glow that pulsed in harmony with the falling water. These blooms, both ancient and fresh, existed outside the confines of time, their ethereal petals captivating my gaze. Kneeling by the fountain, a sense of recognition tugged at my soul. The stone bore faded markings resembling inscriptions from a forgotten tongue. As my fingers traced the symbols, they shifted and transformed beneath my touch, like elusive words etched in water. The whisper evolved into coherent phrases, hinting at memories, promises, and the cyclical nature of time mirrored in the fountain's flow. Visions danced in the pool's reflections, glimpses of bygone eras, lives intertwining, moments frozen in eternity. Each ephemeral image dissolved like morning mist, leaving behind a fleeting impression of the unseen. The blue flowers continued their gentle pulsing, casting ephemeral shadows that waltzed along the courtyard walls. Here time ebbed languidly, a tranquil current unaffected by the outside world's haste. The whispers enveloped me in a comforting embrace, akin to a lullaby from childhood, half remembered, yet deeply cherished. Absorbed in the mysteries of the hidden courtyard, I felt no compulsion to depart, no fear of encroaching darkness. As the rain persisted in its gentle descent, veiling the courtyard in a curtain of silver, the whispers shared secrets destined to linger in my subconscious. When I rose to depart, a solitary blue flower detached itself, settling in my palm. Its glow had dimmed, blending seamlessly with reality, yet retaining its intrinsic beauty. Retracing my steps through the alley, the whispers gradually faded, yet their essence lingered like a comforting presence. Emerging onto the rain-kissed street, the world appeared unchanged, bathed in the familiar glow of street lamps. Yet within me, a subtle transformation had transpired, a mark left by the enigmatic allure of the hidden sanctuary. On rainy evenings thereafter, a faint echo of those whispers would drift on the breeze, a reminder of the mysteries concealed beyond ordinary perception. And on my windowsill, the blue flower rested, outwardly unassuming to the casual observer. But in the stillness of night, it emanated a soft luminescence, evoking memories of promises whispered in the rain, of enigmas waiting to be unraveled by those attuned to the secrets carried within the storm's whispers. Story 19. In the quiet dimness of the evening, after a day that had worn me down, I chanced to glance into the hallway mirror. But what greeted me was not my own reflection. A silhouette stood there, bathed in the soft golden twilight that filled the room. The air held a blend of familiar scents, the comforting aroma of a home-cooked meal mingled with something elusive, something that defied explanation. The shadow in the mirror seemed to beckon me, drawing me into a realm where reality intertwined with illusion. I found myself rooted to the spot, captivated by the gentle dance of curtains swaying in the evening breeze. Their movements cast delicate patterns on the aged wooden floor, as if whispering secrets only they could understand. The mirror itself was an antique, a relic passed down through generations. Its weathered bronze frame bore the marks of time, each scratch and swirl seeming to hold within it fragments of memories long past. The silhouette remained still, a dark figure against the amber glow filtering through the windows. It was not menacing, rather, it exuded a sense of familiarity, like reuniting with a childhood friend in a dream. The shape was undeniably human, yet its edges blurred and shifted, as if straddling the line between substance and shadow. Memories of my grandmother's tales flooded back to me, stories of mirrors as portals to other realms, other times. In my youth, I had dismissed them as mere flights of fancy, but now, faced with this enigmatic figure, those old stories seemed to hold a kernel of truth. The house around me settled into a soft, creaking symphony, its old bones finding rest in the evening stillness. The lingering scents of dinner mingled with the familiar fragrance of well-loved books and polished furniture. As I watched, the figure in the mirror seemed to breathe in tandem with the house, a subtle dance of expansion and contraction that mirrored the rhythm of life itself. Drawn by an unseen force, I moved closer, my steps soundless on the worn floorboards. With each footfall, the air grew cooler, wrapping me in a gentle embrace that raised goosebumps on my skin. It felt as though the twilight had transformed the atmosphere, imbuing it with a weightiness that transcended mere air. The silhouette shifted almost imperceptibly, and I noticed the familiar slope of its shoulders, reminiscent of my mother's posture. A pang of recognition washed over me, though logic dictated it couldn't be her. She had departed this world 5 winters past. Yet in the way the figure carried itself, I glimpsed echoes of her quiet strength, her enduring grace. Time seemed to stretch and warp in that hallway, flowing like honey, slow, golden, saturated with memories. The usual evening sounds faded into a gentle hush, leaving only the steady rhythm of my breath intermingling with another, a phantom exhale that mirrored mine with eerie precision. As the sun dipped lower, casting elongated shadows across the walls, the figure in the mirror underwent a subtle transformation. Its edges softened, and within the darkness, pinpricks of light emerged like stars in a twilight sky. They twinkled with a soft, ethereal glow, reminiscent of fireflies dancing on summer nights long gone. Raising my hand tentatively, I half expected the figure to mimic my gesture. Yet it remained still, the lights within it flickering in a mesmerizing display. The fragrance of night-blooming jasmine enveloped me, my mother's favorite bloom, though we had never grown it in our home. My heart beat steadily, a quiet accompaniment to the strangeness unfolding before me. There was no fear, only a profound sense of wonder, and a stirring of something long dormant within me, a sense of homecoming, of stumbling upon a truth I didn't know I sought. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the figure began to fade as daylight waned. A gentle touch brushed my cheek, so fleeting it might have been a figment of my imagination. The scent of jasmine intensified for a moment, then dwindled along with the vanishing silhouette. In the cloak of darkness, I reached out and flicked on the light. The mirror now reflected only my own visage, contemplative and changed. A subtle radiance seemed to emanate from the frame, visible only in my periphery, and my reflection appeared softened, as if veiled by a gentle morning mist. I kept the evening's encounter to myself, yet found myself drawn to the mirror at dusk, anticipating those fleeting moments of connection with the enigmatic silhouette. These quiet rendezvous with mystery blurred the boundaries between memory and magic, between absence and presence. The mirror remained a silent sentinel in the hallway, a keeper of moments like precious gems. And on certain evenings, when the light cast its spell and the air grew still, I would stand before it, poised on the threshold between day and night, embracing the infinite possibilities that dwelled within that sacred space. Story 20. In the heart of a secluded forest, a hidden gem awaited my discovery. Along a winding trail, obscured by tangled vines, an ancient stone well lay dormant, bathed in the ethereal light of the full moon. Its mysterious glow pulsed softly, illuminating the lush undergrowth that surrounded it. The air was cool and damp, carrying whispers of moss and earth that mingled with the enigmatic radiance beckoning me closer. With cautious steps, I approached, the fallen leaves beneath my feet muffling any sound. The weathered stones of the well were adorned with intricate carvings, weathered by time's gentle caress. As I drew near, the pulsing light seemed to synchronize with my breath, as if the well itself was a sentient being, acknowledging my presence in its ancient realm. The forest fell into an eerie hush, devoid of the usual nocturnal symphony. The crickets, my faithful companions, had fallen silent, leaving only the rustle of wind through the trees to accompany me. Moonbeams filtered through the canopy, casting enchanting shadow plays on the forest floor. Intrigued, I traced the carvings on the well's rim with my fingers, feeling a subtle vibration akin to a distant melody humming beneath the surface. The stone, cold and smooth, possessed a metallic sheen that defied its earthly origins. The well's inner glow cast peculiar shadows on my hands, reminiscent of sunlight dancing underwater, its warmth a stark contrast to the chill of the night. Driven by curiosity, I leaned in, peering into the depths of the well. Instead of darkness, a vast expanse unfolded before me, illuminated by swirling lights akin to celestial bodies caught in a cosmic dance. Patterns emerged and dissolved within the light, teasing my senses with fleeting familiarity. A gentle hum resonated from the well, barely audible at first but steadily growing in intensity. It harmonized with the pulsing light, weaving a mesmerizing rhythm that warped the fabric of time. Luminous tendrils rose from the depths like ethereal mist, carrying scents of petrichor and ancient wisdom that stirred something primal within me. The mist enveloped me without physical contact, cradling me in a ghostly embrace that whispered of forgotten truths. Within the swirling lights, fragments of bygone rituals and distant figures emerged, drawing water from the well across the ages, each touched by the enigmatic glow in their own way. As the light dimmed, not in menace but in gentle retreat, a profound tranquility washed over me, its origins rooted in a wisdom beyond comprehension. Stepping back, I realized the moon had shifted, though the passage of time eluded me. The forest had resumed its nocturnal symphony, yet the well retained a subtle radiance, a secret beacon hidden in plain sight. Many nights have passed since that encounter, each full moon drawing me back to the well's elusive glow. It remains a fleeting mirage, a reminder of a surreal experience that transcended logic. The questions it stirred within me are not puzzles to solve but riddles to ponder, akin to the inexplicable allure of distant melodies and murmurs of the sea. The well's glow lingers in my memory, a silent testament to the allure of the unknown, beckoning us to the edge of understanding where mystery and beauty intertwine in a dance of enigmatic harmony. Story 21, The Whispering Pond. As I paused by the tranquil pond, I stooped to see my reflection in the water's gentle ripples. But what greeted my gaze was not my own familiar visage. It was a faint face, barely discernible amidst the wavering reflections. The air hung heavy with a misty veil, carrying the bittersweet scent of algae, while the elusive image seemed to murmur a tale long forgotten, veiled within the depths below. Spellbound by the soft undulations of the water, memories of my grandmother's ancient stories about water spirits drifted through my mind like wisps of fog. She always spoke of still waters holding hidden secrets for those patient enough to listen. The rustling of leaves above me wove a soothing melody, harmonized by the occasional gentle splash of tiny fish breaking the pond's surface. Since that initial encounter, I found myself drawn to the pond with increasing frequency. Each evening, as the sun dipped low, casting elongated shadows across the water, I would settle on the weathered bench nearby. In the fading light, the pond took on a mystical quality. Not quite a mirror, nor a window, but something betwixt. At times I caught fleeting glimpses of that enigmatic face, always just beyond clear recognition, like a half-remembered dream. The locals spun their tales about the pond, each weaving their own version of its mysteries. Some claimed it was fed by ancient underground streams, while others whispered of its fathomless depths. An elderly neighbor once mentioned sightings of ethereal lights beneath the surface on certain moonlit nights, his words delivered with a serene certainty that left me pondering their truth. One mist-laden evening, the water appeared different, still as polished glass, reflecting the deepening hues of the twilight sky above. Enveloped in the hush of the gathering night, I noticed a curious anomaly in my reflection. It lagged slightly behind my movements, as if observing me with a keen interest. The feminine features of the face I had glimpsed before now emerged more distinctly, eyes carrying the weight of centuries-old wisdom. In that poignant moment, a gentle tug brushed against my thoughts, initiating a wordless communion. Impressions unfurled within me, revealing snatches of the pond's history, seasons ebbing and flowing through the centuries, people traversing its banks, secrets whispered and safeguarded. The face in the water had borne witness to it all, preserving memories too precious or perilous for the world above. The air thickened with moisture, delicate droplets alighting upon my skin, saturating my attire. Yet I remained motionless, captivated by the unspoken exchange. The face unveiled more, ancient rites enacted at the water's edge, lovers pledging eternal devotion, children learning to navigate the depths, elders finding solace in their twilight hours. As night descended in full, serenaded by the chorus of crickets and the occasional distant owl, I realized hours had slipped away unnoticed. The apparition began to fade, imparting a final impression, a sense of gratitude for being truly seen, acknowledged after a long solitude. The water rippled softly, as if stirred by an unseen breath, returning to its tranquil state. On my way home that night, shrouded in mist-dampened attire, I sensed a subtle yet profound shift within me. The world appeared richer, layered with veiled significance and untold narratives. I comprehended why my grandmother held water spirits in such reverence. They served not to alarm, but to illuminate the profound connections flowing beneath the surface of everyday existence. Though I continued to frequent the pond, that clear communion with the face in the water never manifested again. Yet when the light danced upon the surface just so, I'd catch a fleeting glimpse of those age-old eyes and feel a familiar, gentle pull in my mind. The pond evolved into my sanctuary, where the boundary between past and present, memory and reality, blurred into a wondrous tapestry. When asked why I lingered by the water's edge, especially on mist-shrouded evenings, I would merely smile and mention that I was listening to ancient tales. For some mysteries transcend explanation, beckoning to be felt rather than deciphered, experienced rather than understood. In the tranquil ripples of that ageless pond, I discovered that the most profound enigmas often whisper their truths to those who pause to listen, to observe, and to wonder. The face in the water remained my silent confidant, a custodian of memories, both personal and communal. In its presence, I learned that the deepest mysteries are often the quietest, murmuring their secrets to those who dare to delve beneath the surface, to peer beyond the ordinary into the realm of the extraordinary. Story 22. On a misty evening, as I secured the locks on my apartment, a peculiar sight caught my eye. A door tucked discreetly behind an ancient bookshelf. Its surface exuded a cold, unyielding aura, accompanied by a soft, enigmatic hum that beckoned me closer. The musty fragrance of forgotten memories wafted through the air, drawing me in with an irresistible curiosity. Raindrops tapped gently on my window panes, creating a soothing rhythm as I stood in contemplation of this hidden portal. This door, unlike any other, was a masterpiece of ancient woodwork, adorned with intricate patterns that seemed to dance and shift under the glow of my reading lamp. My fingertips traced the elaborate carvings, each groove telling a story in a language unknown to me. Shadows played upon its surface, casting a mesmerizing display that blurred the boundaries of time and reality. I swayed slightly, entranced by the interplay of light and shadow, as the familiar sounds of my apartment faded into a hushed whisper. Examining the door closer, I noticed its lack of a handle or hinges, yet a gentle warmth radiated from it, like a lingering touch of summer sun on stone. The patterns etched into the wood took on new life in my mind's eye, a spiral reminiscent of ocean waves, curves mirroring the flight of birds. The scent around the door shifted subtly, evolving from musty decay to the fragrance of rain-soaked soil and night-blooming flowers. Settling into my armchair, enveloped in a cozy blanket, I watched as moonlight painted silver streaks across the door, while the mysterious humming transformed into a melodic presence, felt deep within my soul. Hours slipped away in peaceful reverie, the patterns on the door seeming to ripple and shift like reflections on water, or fading into translucency before solidifying once more. With the first light of dawn, a wondrous discovery awaited me. Beneath the door, glimpses of otherworldly scenes unfolded, from swaying grass to shimmering sands, and even twinkling stars in a vast void. Contemplating whether to open this enigmatic door, a realization dawned on me. Its mere existence had already woven a tapestry of magic within my home, blurring the lines between reality and wonder. On sleepless nights, I sit by the door, listening to its gentle hum, accepting that its secrets may never be unveiled. Yet it has become a symbol of serenity and marvel, a reminder that magic resides within the everyday, if we only open our hearts to it. The shifting patterns and ethereal sounds behind the door continue to captivate me, evolving with the phases of the moon, offering a sense of solace and mystery that enriches my soul. In this journey with the door that leads nowhere, I have found a deeper appreciation for the mysteries of life and the beauty of unanswered questions. It has guided me to a place where tranquility and wonder coexist harmoniously, where the unexplained holds its own breathtaking allure. Perhaps the true destination of this door is not a physical realm, but a state of being where curiosity and peace intertwine, creating a sanctuary of enchantment within the familiar confines of home. Story 23. On a serene evening, while nestled on my porch, a haunting melody drifted through the air, carried by the gentle breeze. It was a tune that held both beauty and a touch of melancholy, intertwining with the fragrance of rain-soaked earth and lush grass. With closed eyes, I found myself captivated by this phantom music, as if it beckoned from a realm where memories and mysteries intertwined seamlessly. Initially, I suspected the melody might originate from a neighbor's abode, but its ethereal essence hinted at a different source. The notes floated delicately like wisps of silk in the wind, elusive yet undeniably present. It evoked memories of an antique music box that once belonged to my grandmother, but this melody possessed a complexity that defied mechanical explanation. Drawn by an unseen force, I ventured barefoot from my porch, stepping onto the cool wooden planks that led me into the garden. The dew-kissed grass beneath my feet tethered me to the tangible world while the music gradually grew clearer. Moonbeams filtered through shifting clouds, casting dancing shadows that seemed to move in harmony with the mysterious song. The atmosphere held a profound stillness, a tranquility that follows a rainfall, where every leaf and petal shimmered with captured starlight. Each evening thereafter, I would sit on my porch at sunset, anticipating the return of the melody. Sometimes it would drift back, carrying whispers of distant landscapes, pine forests, mountain streams, and the rustling of autumn leaves. Other times, only the natural chorus of crickets and swaying leaves filled the night air. Yet, even on quiet evenings, I sensed a presence, a watcher or listener, perhaps as curious about me as I was about it. Subtle transformations unfolded in my garden. Flowers bloomed out of season, their petals shimmering iridescently under the moon's gaze. The wind chimes gifted to me by my mother years ago chimed in harmony with the phantom melody, even in the absence of a breeze. My feline companions perched alert on windowsills, their gaze tracking invisible movements in the air, tails swishing in time with the ethereal music only we could perceive. One crystalline night, as the melody meandered through my garden, I witnessed a marvel. Dewdrops on spider webs among the rose bushes defied gravity, ascending skyward like tiny crystal notes escaping into the night. Rather than instilling fear, this sight filled me with wonder. Each droplet caught the moon's glow, transforming into miniature prisms that scattered rainbow hues across the garden. I began documenting these phenomena in a journal, noting how the melody shifted with the lunar phases. During the new moon, it murmured softly like a secret lullaby, but as the moon waxed towards fullness, the song blossomed into a rich tapestry of harmonies beyond earthly orchestration. At times I awoke in the witching hours to find my room bathed in a soft, pulsating light synchronized with the rhythm of the phantom melody. The light painted ephemeral patterns on my walls, vanishing when I tried to focus on them. My dreams became a tapestry of half-remembered tunes and familiar yet elusive faces. Among the strangest discoveries were the curious objects that appeared in my garden. Smooth stones vibrating faintly when touched, feathers gleaming with unearthly hues, and delicate shells that echoed fragments of the mysterious melody when held to the ear. Safeguarded in a wooden box by my bedside, these treasures seemed to harmonize with each other on silent nights. As the seasons cycled, the melody evolved, incorporating the rustle of autumn leaves, the hush of falling snow, or the hum of summer insects into its ever-changing composition. It became a steadfast companion, shrouded in enigma, just as it was on the night of its first whisper. Visitors to my garden seldom noticed anything out of the ordinary, though they often remarked on the tranquil aura and the altered flow of time within those sacred grounds. I refrained from unraveling the mystery of the phantom melody, for some things, I've learned, are not meant to be dissected, but embraced and cherished. Even now, as I pen these words by candlelight on my porch, the melody weaves through the evening breeze, a gentle reminder of the magical spaces that exist between the known and the unknown. It persists as a bridge between realms, beckoning those who listen to dream of the possibilities that lie just beyond the veil of conventional perception. Perhaps the melody's true gift lies not in revelations, but in the subtle assurance that mystery itself can be a source of tranquility, a soft serenade that whispers of undiscovered wonders waiting to be unveiled. Story 24. In the hush of a crisp autumn dawn, my fingers brushed against the daily paper, only to find a folded note nestled among the mundane bills. The delicate script upon it held a mysterious allure, sending a shiver down my spine that danced with the fragrant whispers of fallen leaves and a far-off drizzle. Unfurling the note, a chill, inexplicable yet undeniable, ghosted over my skin, a silent reminder that secrets have a way of seeking us out, even in the most unsuspecting moments. The message, succinct but enigmatic, read, "What you seek lies beneath the 7th floorboard from the hearth." Dwelling alone in my grandmother's ancient Victorian abode, a place steeped in enigmatic histories, this cryptic missive stirred a long-buried recollection within me. The script bore a familiarity that tugged at the edges of my memory, reminiscent of the graceful loops adorning my grandmother's treasured recipe cards. Yet she had departed this realm 5 years prior, leaving behind a tapestry of unanswered questions. As twilight descended, casting elongated shadows through the bay windows, a magnetic pull drew me to the heart of the house, the living room. The antique grandfather clock marked the passage of time with its steady cadence, while outside, the wind murmured secrets to the rustling leaves. Each footfall upon the well-trodden hardwood floors seemed to echo with the weight of generations past, guiding me towards the fireplace. Tracing the grain of the floorboards with reverent fingertips, I counted methodically from the stone hearth. 1, 2, 3. Each number seemed to hold its breath, the house itself joining in the anticipation. 4, 5, 6. The 7th board, unassuming in appearance, beckoned me closer. A subtle shift in temperature beneath my touch hinted at hidden truths, and in the dim light, a hairline fissure caught my eye. The wood yielded to my gentle pressure, emitting a soft click as it lifted to reveal a clandestine compartment below. A waft of age-old secrets mingled with the faint scent of lavender, my grandmother's beloved fragrance, as I beheld a velvety pouch of deep burgundy. Hands trembling with a mixture of trepidation and curiosity, I uncovered a small silver key nestled within, its surface adorned with intricate motifs that seemed to dance in the lamplight. Recognition dawned upon me. This was the self-same key that had once hung around my grandmother's neck, a silent guardian of enigmas. Its purpose had remained a mystery, vanishing upon her passing, only to resurface now through cryptic means. As rain tapped a soothing melody against the window panes, I sat ensconced in my grandmother's weathered armchair, the key a cool weight in my palm. The house alive with murmurs of yesteryears, now murmured new tales of hidden passageways and ancestral riddles. Memories long dormant stirred to life, each whisper of the rain coaxing forth recollections of my grandmother's cryptic tales. Every dwelling harbors a beating heart, her words echoed in the room, in tune with the memories it cradles. The rain's lullaby intertwined with the grandfather clock's steady rhythm, weaving a tapestry of tranquility around me. There was no rush to unravel this enigma tonight. Instead, I luxuriated in the quiet revelation that some mysteries unfurled gently, like tendrils of mist unveiling a familiar landscape at dawn. Drifting on the cusp of slumber, my grandmother's voice, gentle and melodic, seeped into my consciousness. "Patience, my dear," she intoned. "Certain doors yield only when we are prepared to step through." The key, an emblem of quiet assurance, nestled in my hand, a promise of untold adventures yet to come. Its lock remained a tantalizing enigma, perhaps concealed in the attic's shadowy recesses, behind the study's peeling wallpaper, or beneath the staircase's time-worn steps. For now, I embraced the unfolding mystery at its own unhurried pace, akin to a flower unfurling its petals to the first light of dawn. The note that set this enigmatic journey in motion now resides in my grandmother's cherished jewelry box, a gentle nudge towards the art of embracing the unknown with patience and wonder. For in the dance between question and answer lies the true magic of discovery. Story 25. In the deep hush of midnight, engrossed in the gentle whispers of pages turning and the comforting scent of aged books and coffee, a feeling crept upon me. A presence lingered in the shadowed corner of my study, a silhouette moving subtly in the dimness, a form foreign to the stillness. My heart quickened, grappling with the question of whether it was a trick of the mind or an uninvited guest from realms unknown. Outside, the rain tapped rhythmically on the window panes, a loyal companion throughout the solitary night, lulling me into a realm of tranquil exploration. The antique lamp on my desk bathed the room in a soft golden light, illuminating the weathered leather volumes that encircled me, each bearing the silent imprints of countless past readers. The grandfather clock in the corner marked the passage of time with its steady, soothing tick-tock, a sound so ingrained in my surroundings that it almost faded into obscurity. As I pondered the enigmatic figure before me, a subtle shift in temperature swept through the room, imperceptible yet enough to raise the fine hairs on my arms. The warmth from my dwindling cup of coffee dissipated swiftly, leaving behind a delicate film of moisture on its surface. The shadows cast by the lamplight began to dance with a purposeful elegance, their movements defying the gentle flicker of the bulb. They weaved intricate patterns on the walls, just beyond the grasp of my understanding. The books on the shelves seemed to drink in more light than natural, creating pockets of darkness that exuded a depth beyond the ordinary. An ancient, unfamiliar aroma permeated the air, a blend of old parchment, morning dew, and a hint of something elusive. It evoked memories of forgotten bookstores and distant libraries, tinged with a hint of starlit nights and far-off breezes. The figure in the corner remained motionless, neither advancing nor receding. When I attempted to meet its gaze directly, it faded into the obscurity of the shadows, yet in my peripheral vision it retained a distinct form. I averted my eyes, instead observing its reflection in the darkened window, where it appeared more tangible. My research notes lay abandoned on the desk, the ink seeming to flow and shift under the dim glow. The words I had written now appeared foreign, as if penned by an unknown hand in a script just beyond my comprehension. The pages rustled softly, though no breeze stirred the air in my closed sanctuary. The ticking of the grandfather clock transformed from a mere timekeeper into a dialogue, a rhythmic exchange between the familiar and the unknown. Each tick elicited a response from the shadows, a subtle movement or shift that I felt in the depths of my being. The cadence became hypnotic, drawing me into a state between consciousness and slumber. I reclined in my chair, no longer gripped by fear, but rather captivated by a curious allure. The figure no longer felt like an intruder, but a long-lost acquaintance, a presence from a dream or a distant memory. Reality and fantasy melded as the night deepened, blurring the boundaries of perception. As the hours ebbed away, I found myself entranced by the interplay of light and shadow across the walls of my study. The books seemed to pulse with a silent vitality, harboring not just tales but echoes of the past, hidden truths, and whispered confessions. The rain outside whispered secrets in its gentle patter, messages veiled in its cadence. I floated on the cusp of wakefulness and dreams, realizing that the figure in my midst had always been there, patiently awaiting my acknowledgement. It had borne witness to countless nights of study, absorbed each written word, and shared in every moment of silent contemplation. With the approach of dawn casting a soft gray hue through the windows, the figure began to fade. Not abruptly, but gradually, like mist dispersing under the morning sun. The shadows retreated to their customary places, the mysterious fragrance dissipated, and the clock resumed its familiar tempo. My coffee sat cold and empty, a relic of the night's enchantment. Examining my notes in the growing light, I found them unchanged, devoid of cryptic scripts or shifting ink. The sole trace of my nocturnal visitor was a singular, unfamiliar symbol etched in the margin of my notebook, a curved line intersecting with 3 dots, a mark I could not recall making. To this day, in the late hours of the night, I feel the presence lingering in my study, though it remains veiled, never revealing itself as distinctly as it had on that initial night. Perhaps it waits for the opportune moment, or perhaps it seeks only to share in my solitary pursuits, a silent companion in the tranquil interlude between twilight and dawn. Story 26. In the hush of my living room in the late hours of the night, a gentle piano melody unfurled, filling the room with its haunting beauty, though no soul sat at the keys. The notes meandered through the shadows, mingling with the fragrance of ancient tomes and dust, weaving a tapestry of sound that held me captive in its spellbinding embrace. Bathed in the soft, silvery light of the moon seeping through the drapes, the piano gleamed, each key pressed in a delicate dance, crafting a nocturne so achingly poignant it stirred a longing deep within me. Enveloped in the warmth of my grandmother's worn quilt, I remained rooted in my armchair, transfixed by the enigmatic music that seemed to materialize from the very essence of the night. The wooden floor beneath me exuded a familiar comfort, while the steady cadence of the grandfather clock filled the room with a steady heartbeat, a counterpoint to the ethereal melody that painted the air. As the piano continued its melancholic serenade, a subtle shift crept into the room's ambience. The air grew cooler, carrying with it wisps of lavender, the scent of my grandmother's cherished perfume. The flames in the fireplace flickered with a mesmerizing slowness, as if entranced by the melody that caressed them. Each note lingered in the air, stretching time into a fluid, dreamlike state, blurring the boundaries between reality and reverie. Eyes closed, I sought to etch every nuance of this surreal moment into my memory. The piano's melody cascaded like gentle raindrops on a placid pond, each note creating ripples that intertwined with one another in a mesmerizing dance. Beneath the surface melody, echoes of forgotten tunes whispered, tantalizingly close yet just out of reach. When I reopened my eyes, the moon had shifted, casting new patterns of shadow across the room. The music had evolved, weaving a tapestry of emotions that tugged at long-buried memories. Details that had eluded me before now emerged. The subtle sway of the sheet music stand, the precise movement of the pedals, the faint creak of the piano bench, though no weight bore upon it. Memories stirred within me, conjuring visions of summers past, of evenings spent by my grandmother's side as she coaxed melodies from the very heart of the piano. I recalled her closed eyes, lost in the music's embrace, as if transported to a realm beyond mortal ken. And in that moment, the mysterious pianist seemed to pluck the strings of my memories, weaving fragments of my grandmother's lullabies into the intricate fabric of the nocturne. The room's temperature ebbed and flowed, enfolding me in pockets of warmth that whispered of bygone embraces. Shadows danced on the walls in sync with the music, and phantom hands ghosted over the keys, vanishing whenever I sought to fix my gaze upon them. Time wavered, its passage indeterminate, as the melody slowed, each note a deliberate caress. As the final strains faded into silence, a gentle zephyr brushed my cheek, carrying with it the familiar scent of lavender, now mingled with the earthy aroma of aged wood and polish. The room settled into a tranquil stillness, suffused with an inexplicable energy that lingered in the air. The grandfather clock intoned softly, heralding the impending dawn, and I realized that morning's light would soon grace the horizon. The identity of the unseen pianist remained shrouded in mystery, their ethereal music etched indelibly in my mind, a melody I could never recreate. On quiet evenings when the moonlight cascaded through the windows, I would find myself ensconced in my armchair, a silent sentinel awaiting the return of those enigmatic notes. Though the pianist never reappeared, a presence, familiar yet unseen, often graced the room, as if poised at the keys on the brink of another nocturne. The piano stood sentinel in the living room, a silent witness to that extraordinary night, dust settling upon its surface between each reverent polishing. And as I passed by, a subtle hint of lavender lingered in the air, while the keys retained a warmth, a memory of a night when the boundaries between the tangible and the ethereal blurred into a symphony of haunting beauty. Some mysteries, it seems, are not meant to be unraveled, but to be cherished, held close to the heart, like fragments of a dream that linger on the edge of waking. Story 27. As I roamed an abandoned cemetery, hidden behind unruly hedges, I stumbled upon an ancient iron gate that groaned open at the slightest touch. The air hung heavy with the fragrance of damp soil and decaying foliage, while the rusty hinges protested, as if guarding the secrets shrouded within. Crossing the threshold, I sensed the weight of memories long buried, murmuring tales from beneath the worn gravestones. A soft mist draped the earth, caressing the bases of age-old headstones like ghostly tendrils. My footsteps, muffled by the moist soil, harmonized with the distant whisper of wind through naked branches. Each inhale filled my lungs with the crisp, mineral-laden air, unique to centuries-old graveyards. Delving further into the cemetery, a curious pattern in the arrangement of graves caught my eye. Despite their weathered appearance and coats of moss and lichen, the headstones seemed to align in a subtle dance. Some leaned left, others right, crafting a meandering path through the burial grounds. It could have been nature's gradual shift over time, yet the precision of their positioning hinted at intentionality. The sunlight waned, casting elongated shadows that sprawled over the irregular terrain. Amidst the tombstones, clusters of wildflowers swayed gently, their purple and white blooms capturing the fading daylight. Nature had reclaimed much of this sacred ground, with ivy embracing the stone markers and wild roses scaling forgotten iron fences. A soft rustle drew me to a time-worn marble angel, its features softened by years of weathering. A tattered ribbon, a deep burgundy hue preserved despite age, snagged on its outstretched wing. When I reached out to touch it, the fabric emitted an uncharacteristic warmth, as if recently placed there. The further I ventured, the more I sensed a subtle shift in the atmosphere. The air thickened, carrying a sweet essence of night-blooming jasmine, though the flowers remained unseen. The temperature held steady, neither warm nor cold, evoking a timeless aura. Each step forward seemed to distance me from the familiar modern world. In the heart of the cemetery, I stumbled upon a circular clearing encircled by 7 identical headstones. All bore the same family name, their dates eroded, leaving smooth hollows where numbers once lingered. In the center stood a sundial, its bronze surface aged to a lustrous verdigris. Despite the overcast sky, the sundial's shadow crept leisurely, measuring time out of sync with my watch. As dusk descended, wisps of mist ascended, weaving intricate shapes that pirouetted among the graves. The silhouettes almost resembled human forms, yet dissolved into shapeless vapor whenever I attempted to focus on them. The distant creak of the gate reached my ears, though no breeze stirred the air. A faint hum began to fill the surroundings, initially imperceptible. It echoed an ancient lullaby, akin to those whispered by grandmothers on tranquil evenings. The melody seemed to emanate from all directions and none simultaneously, rising and falling with the mist. Standing in silence, I discerned the hum carrying foreign words, their meaning eluding comprehension yet resonating with clarity, a melody of remembrance and tranquil repose. Retracing my steps towards the entrance, I observed my footprints had vanished, replaced by untouched earth and scattered leaves. The crimson ribbon adorning the angel had vanished, although I never felt its departure. The gate loomed ahead, its weathered iron now imbued with warmth despite the encroaching night chill. Passing through, it sighed shut behind me, a gentle exhalation rather than its prior groan. Glancing back one final time, I beheld the cemetery transformed in twilight's embrace. The headstones glimmered with a subtle luminescence, crafting a constellation of soft lights mirroring the emerging stars above. The cryptic pattern I had discerned earlier unfurled, the graves intertwined in an elaborate spiral, visible solely from this vantage point and in this specific light. I never revisited that cemetery, yet it haunts my dreams. In slumber, the gate swings open noiselessly, beckoning me to unravel its enigmas once more. At times I ponder if my encounter was tangible or merely a fleeting glimpse through a thinning veil between worlds. The sole trace of my visit lingers in the form of that haunting lullaby, occasionally drifting through my thoughts on tranquil nights, carrying the essence of moist earth and ancient stones. Story 28. On a crisp night, while strolling past an abandoned factory, my eyes caught sight of faint, flickering lights twirling along its crumbling walls. The structure, shrouded in darkness, suddenly stirred to life with an enigmatic gleam. The air bore the tang of metal rust and the essence of forgotten machinery, while that mysterious radiance lured me closer, compelling me to unravel the tale behind the phantom lights. Drawn toward the weathered edifice, my steps whispered softly on gravel and fallen leaves. An autumn breeze murmured gently, carrying the scent of moist earth and aged brick. Approaching, the light seemed to pulsate with a gentle rhythm, akin to breathing, inhaling and exhaling in a slow, hypnotic cadence that synced with the beat of my heart. The outer walls of the factory loomed before me, their worn surface textured by years gone by. Strips of old paint peeled off like ancient scrolls, unveiling layers of history beneath. The windows, mostly obscured by dust and time, reflected the mysterious lights in a manner that made them seem to hover both inside and outside the structure simultaneously. My hand grazed the cool metal of a side door, and to my surprise, it yielded with a faint protest from its hinges. The sound reverberated through the vacant space within, a gentle reminder of the vast emptiness awaiting within. The air indoors felt different, not stagnant as expected, but vibrant with an electric energy that raised the fine hairs on my arms. Progressing further into the building, I observed how the phantom lights seemed to illuminate my path. Drifting just ahead, they cast soft shadows that danced across abandoned machinery. The equipment stood like silent guardians, their contours transfigured by darkness into abstract sculptures. Somewhere in the distance, water dripped, forming a soothing rhythm that accompanied my exploration. The lights guided me up a metal staircase, each step producing a soft metallic melody beneath my feet. Ascending, I detected a subtle vibration in the air, barely noticeable, yet undeniably present. It echoed the hum of distant power lines, yet somehow more melodious, more deliberate. On the second floor, I encountered a vast, open expanse where moonlight filtered through shattered skylights, casting pools of silver that mingled with the warm glow of the phantom lights. Dust particles pirouetted in these beams, swirling in patterns that appeared almost intentional. The floor was strewn with ancient papers, their edges curled with age, adorned with faded technical drawings and handwritten notes. Stooping to inspect one of the papers, the lights congregated around me, their radiance intensifying slightly. In that instant, I grasped that they were not random occurrences. They moved with intent, with intelligence. They formed patterns reminiscent of constellations, then morphed to craft shapes resembling letters in an unreadable alphabet. The room's temperature subtly fluctuated, creating pockets of warmth that drifted past like unseen currents. The lights reacted to these shifts, their hues transitioning from warm amber to cool blue and back again. I swayed slightly, captivated by their motion, as if they were orchestrating a silent symphony solely for me. In a distant corner of the room, the lights congregated around an old control panel. Its surface brimmed with switches and dials, all silent now. Yet as I observed, the phantom lights seemed to recreate the patterns of activity that must have once animated this space. They flowed through the air in rhythmic sequences, akin to spectral echoes of the workers who had once operated these machines. Time seemed to dissipate as I stood there, entranced by this ethereal spectacle. The gentle sounds of the building, the distant water droplets, the whisper of wind through fractured windows, the soft creaking of settling metal, merged into a soothing lullaby. The lights continued their dance, each movement narrating a fragment of a story I could sense but not fully comprehend. With the night deepening, I observed the lights gradually dimming, not abruptly, but with the same deliberate patience with which they had appeared. Ascending higher toward the skylights, their glow waned until they were scarcely visible against the pre-dawn sky. The last image I beheld before their vanishing act was a pattern resembling a farewell wave, leaving me with a profound feeling of having witnessed something both exquisite and inexplicable. Retracing my steps through the building, guided now by the burgeoning light of dawn, the factory felt transformed in these early morning hours. Tranquil rather than forsaken, as though the phantom lights had imparted some of their essence to the space itself. Even now, I occasionally pass by the old factory at night, yearning to glimpse those enigmatic lights once more. They have yet to reappear, but the air always carries that identical electric charge, that same promise of potential, as if the lights are merely biding their time for the opportune moment to reemerge and continue their tale. Story 29. The soft murmur of the vintage radio filled the hush of my vacant apartment. It sat there, a relic untouched for years, emitting a gentle melody in the subdued glow. As I reached to silence it, a voice broke through the crackling static. It was hushed, yet strangely familiar, whispering words known only to me. The radio perched on my grandmother's cherished side table, its polished wood reflecting the warm light of my reading lamp. Until then, the evening had drifted by peacefully, accompanied only by the rhythmic patter of rain on my window, a lullaby to my solitude. I had been nestled with a book, cocooned in the cozy embrace of my treasured blanket, when the first hint of static pierced the quietude. Initially, I suspected a slight jostle had inadvertently activated the ancient dial. But deep down, I knew that couldn't be the case. The radio had been silent since my grandmother's passing 5 years prior. I kept it solely for sentimental reasons, a token of the countless evenings spent listening to tunes of yesteryears while she knitted in her beloved chair. The voice grew more distinct, emerging from the static like a figure materializing from mist. I remember the butterfly. It uttered, so faint I almost missed it. My breath hitched in my throat. The butterfly, only my grandmother and I shared that secret. It was a delicate blue morpho that had alighted on my hand during her funeral. I had never disclosed how it perched there, motionless, until the final prayer was spoken. The rain maintained its gentle serenade against the panes as I sat motionless, fearing any disturbance might shatter the peculiar enchantment enveloping my abode. The voice persisted, weaving through patches of static. "You still keep the origami birds in the shoebox under your bed." Another clandestine detail, the paper cranes she had taught me to fold, each one enfolding a silent wish inscribed in pencil. I had never revealed them to another soul. The warm glow of my lamp seemed to pulse rhythmically with the static, casting dancing shadows on the radio's wood surface. A fragrance of dried lavender and aged books wafted through the air, my grandmother's signature scent. The room's temperature shifted, a welcomed coolness reminiscent of early morning in her garden where we used to linger. The voice divulged more memories. The hidden key beneath a loose brick in her garden wall. The covert recipe for her blackberry tea encrypted in her journal. Her clandestine humming of Moon River when she thought no one was near. Each disclosure washed over me like a gentle tide, unearthing memories stowed in the quietest recesses of my mind. I found myself sinking deeper into the chair, fear yielding to profound tranquility. The static between words morphed into a soothing white noise, akin to ocean waves or wind rustling through trees. My grandmother's voice, now unmistakably hers, continued its tender soliloquy, each syllable laden with shared recollections. Time seemed to ebb differently as I listened. The rain outside evolved into a distant melody harmonizing with the radio's voice. My eyelids grew heavy, yet I resisted slumber, anxious not to miss a single utterance. The voice painted pictures of summer afternoons in her garden, hidden trails in the woods behind her dwelling, untold stories she left unfinished. With the night's progression, the voice waned, melding once more into the static. I yearned to reach out, to pose the questions left unasked, but a force restrained me. Perhaps certain enigmas are destined to remain just that, enigmas. The final words pierced through clearly, like moonlight piercing through clouds. The best secrets are the ones that remind us we're never truly alone. Then the static dissolved into silence, leaving only the tranquil symphony of rain and my own subdued breaths. I refrained from switching on the radio again after that night. Yet occasionally, when the rain falls just so and the evening light caresses the cabinet's wood grain, I swear I catch the faintest echo of static. In those fleeting moments, I recollect that some secrets are meant to be safeguarded, while others discover their way of being heard. Story 30. In a secluded corner of the local library, I stumbled upon a weathered, leather-bound book, its pages yellowed with age and wisdom. As I delicately thumbed through the fragile parchment, a folded slip of paper cascaded out, fluttering to the ground like a secret whispered by the past. This slip bore a map of intricate design, etched with cryptic symbols that seemed to dance with a hidden purpose. The scent of ancient ink and forgotten tales wafted from the paper, mingling with the soft hum of the library's timeless whispers. Nestling into the embrace of a plush armchair, I allowed the map's enigmatic pathways to captivate me. Each stroke of the pen carried a weight of intention, as if the lines themselves held the key to a world long lost to memory. Mysterious symbols adorned the margins, their origins shrouded in the mists of time, evading the grasp of my scholarly pursuits. The gentle patter of rain against the tall windows enveloped the room in a soothing cadence, a lullaby for the curious soul. With a touch, I felt the warmth seep from the paper, and the ink shimmered like starlight in the dimming afternoon glow. A subtle shift in perspective revealed that the map was no mere static image. Its secrets unfurled and danced with the changing light. In the corner, An ancient grandfather clock told the hours, its chimes resonating with a melody that seemed to breathe life into the map's arcane symbols. Enthralled by its mysteries, I traced the converging paths that led to a central point, marked by a compass rose of intricate design. Outside, the rain intensified, adding its voice to the symphony of the library's antiquity. The soft sighs of the heating system wove through the air, blending with the rhythmic whispers of knowledge that filled the space. As I delved deeper into the map's riddles, a realization dawned upon me. The symbols mirrored those etched into the very stone of the library's archways, hidden in plain sight all along. Guided by an unseen force, I rose silently and ventured into uncharted corridors, the map a beacon in the dimming light. The library's familiar sounds faded into an expectant hush as I navigated towards a hidden alcove, its ancient woodwork bearing the same symbols as the map. A scent of old books and distant storms hung heavy in the air, mingling with the promise of secrets long forgotten. As twilight descended, the library's lights flickered to life, casting an ethereal glow upon the forgotten alcove. Shadows danced in defiance of the illumination, hinting at realms beyond mortal ken. The map, now warm to the touch, revealed hidden pathways that shimmered with the essence of unseen worlds. Tracing these ghostly trails with trembling fingers, I felt the very fabric of reality shift around me, the room pulsating with a life of its own. The clock's chimes reached me like echoes from another realm, distorting time and space in their haunting melody. What had begun as a simple exploration had unfurled into a tapestry of time and mystery. The map, a conduit to a bygone era, hinted at the library's hidden depths, where echoes of the past intertwined with the present. As the library neared closing time, I carefully folded the map and returned it to its rightful place within the book, a silent guardian of its enigmas. Yet, to my bewilderment, the librarian's records bore no trace of the tome's existence, as if it were a phantom from a forgotten era. Since that fateful day, I have frequented the library during rainy afternoons, when the veiled light casts shadows of possibility upon the ancient shelves. At times the book appears in unexpected places, as if beckoning me to unravel its mysteries once more. Other patrons, too, seem drawn to similar tomes, their eyes alight with the same flicker of curiosity that had ignited my own. Though we never exchange words, a silent kinship binds us in our shared quest for the unknown. The library, once a mere repository of knowledge, has transformed into a labyrinth of wonder and intrigue, a sanctuary for seekers of hidden truths. On quiet evenings, when the rain taps gently against the windows and the clock intones its cryptic song, I unfurl the map and embark on a journey through the shifting shadows of time. Each turn of the page reveals new revelations, new mysteries waiting to be unveiled. The map, a guide through the veiled corridors of existence, whispers of worlds beyond our own, beckoning me to explore the infinite depths of possibility. Perhaps the true enchantment lies not in the destinations the map reveals, but in the journey it unfolds before us. A journey through the timeless expanse of the mind, where every shadow harbors a story untold, and every moment holds the promise of revelation. Story 31. In the dusty passages of an ancient estate, I stumbled upon a faded tapestry hanging loosely on a stone wall. With a gentle push, a hidden door materialized, blending seamlessly into the weathered stone. The air was thick with the scent of aged earth and wilted roses, creating an atmosphere of forgotten secrets. Tentatively, I crossed the threshold into a concealed chamber, shrouded in mystery and promise. Moonbeams filtered through a tall, slender window, casting ethereal silver patterns across the wooden floor. The room, though smaller than anticipated, exuded an aura of enigma, with shelves reaching from floor to ceiling on 3 walls. Each shelf held a menagerie of peculiar objects: crystal bottles containing vibrant liquids, unmarked leather-bound tomes, and intricately carved wooden boxes obscured by dim light. The atmosphere within was different. Time itself seemed to slow, the air heavy with anticipation. A grandfather clock stood stoically in a corner, its pendulum motionless, its hands frozen at the stroke of midnight. A soft melody of wind whispered through unseen crevices, harmonizing with the rhythm of my breath, creating an otherworldly symphony. Approaching a shelf, my gaze settled on a bottle emitting a faint inner glow. As I grasped the warm glass, a peculiar sight greeted me. In its reflection, I beheld eyes not my own, but ancient and wise, holding untold wisdom. Setting the bottle down, the enigmatic eyes dissolved like mist before dawn. Among the volumes, one book stood out, its spine adorned with silver threads shimmering in the moonlight. Upon opening it, blank pages met my touch, yet beneath my fingertips I discerned subtle indentations as if invisible words had been penned. The paper itself felt like silk, a delicate caress against my skin. A dusty music box adorned a central table, its surface pristine save for a perfect ring, as if traced by an unseen hand. Lifting the lid, instead of music, distant whispers enveloped me in a language almost familiar, merging seamlessly with my own thoughts. The room held its breath as I delved deeper, each object leaving a trail of unanswered questions in its wake. A mirror on the wall offered a distorted reflection, showcasing shelves not present in reality, casting unfamiliar shadows under the moonlight's glow. The room's essence warped time, leaving me adrift for what could have been moments or hours. The silent grandfather clock imposed an invisible cadence, guiding me through a realm beyond comprehension. The air grew warmer, carrying the fragrance of ancient parchment and a hint of sweetness, reminiscent of vanilla or a memory thereof. Nestled in a corner, obscured by leather-bound journals, a plain wooden chest beckoned. Unlike its ornate counterparts, this box was unadorned, its dark wood absorbing the moon's radiance. Touching it, a gentle vibration akin to a purr resonated, warmth spreading through my veins. The lock, devoid of a keyhole, bore concentric circles that rippled beneath my touch, aligning in response to an unspoken command. With a soft exhale, the lid yielded, revealing a solitary item, a letter inscribed in shifting script, its meaning elusive, yet evoking a profound sense of connection to the unknown. As dawn approached, the room underwent a subtle transformation, a familiar yet enigmatic presence enveloping me in its embrace. Though a departure beckoned, I lingered, absorbing the room's final nuances, the dance of dust motes in the morning light, the cryptic patterns etched into the wooden floor, the soft creak of settling shelves in the warming air. Stepping back through the door, allowing the tapestry to conceal the chamber once more, I carried not answers but a profound reverence for the enigmas that dwell within ancient shadows. At times I still feel the warmth of the wooden chest on my fingertips, hear the distant whispers on the edge of consciousness. And on nights when the moon reigns supreme and the wind whispers through vacant corridors, I ponder if the room awaits another seeker, rearranging its mysteries like shifting reflections in the mirror, poised to unveil a new tale to the next intrepid soul who ventures beyond the tattered tapestry. Story 32. On a moonlit journey back home, the nearly deserted subway car felt unusually burdensome. Nestled in the distant corner, a lone figure sat in silence, their gaze fixed upon me as the train traversed through shadowed tunnels. The air hung heavy with the mingling sense of perspiration and stagnant atmosphere, instilling an eerie sensation of being under scrutiny. The gentle sway of the car and the rhythmic clatter of wheels against tracks wove a mesmerizing melody that typically would have ushered me into slumber. But this night held a different allure. My focus kept veering back to the stranger, whose mere presence seemed to warp the very essence of reality around them. The flickering fluorescent lights above sporadically cast peculiar shadows that danced along the weathered metal walls. I observed a peculiar trait about my fellow traveler. Their outline appeared faintly blurred, as if seen through a rain-splattered window. With each blink or shift of my gaze, their contours momentarily sharpened before softening once more. The subtle effect might have been dismissed as a trick of tired eyes, had it not been for what unfolded next. The stranger extended their hand in what seemed like a greeting, yet the motion left lingering trails in the air, akin to the way sparklers etch light patterns in the night sky. Each gesture created ripples in the surrounding space, warping the advertisements on the walls behind them. The temperature in the car plummeted, sending shivers down my spine. Time began to warp, expanding and contracting with each breath. The gaps between stations stretched, the darkness beyond the windows deepening into an abyss. The usual ambient sounds of the subway, the rush of air, the mechanical grumbles, the distant echoes, all faded into a velvety silence, leaving only the heartbeat rhythm of wheels on tracks. I found myself scrutinizing their attire, a blend of modernity and antiquity. A coat that could have been worn yesterday or centuries past, shoes that shifted styles when not directly observed. Despite the overhead illumination, their face remained shrouded in shadow, as though darkness itself was drawn to them. The stranger began to hum, the melody not quite audible to my ears but resonating in my chest, a haunting tune evoking childhood lullabies and forgotten reveries. Though my eyelids grew heavy, I resisted the allure of sleep, ensnared between comfort and disquiet. Subtle alterations befell the subway car. Advertisements displayed different images when glanced askance. The metal poles seemed to bend at impossible angles before snapping back to normal under direct focus. The windows reflected scenes of gardens, libraries, and distant stars, inconceivable in their presence. The stranger rose with fluid grace, their movement akin to water in weightlessness. Advancing towards me, I noted their feet barely touching the floor. The air surrounding them shimmered with an opalescent sheen, akin to heat waves rising from scorching pavement. Their aura exuded a sense of ancient wisdom and infinite patience. Seating themselves across from me, I briefly glimpsed their visage, kind and aged, familiar yet impossible to commit to memory. When they spoke, their voice whispered like wind through autumn foliage. "You possess a keen sight," they uttered, though their lips remained still. "Few remain awake at this hour of existence." I yearned to respond, to pose myriad questions swirling in my mind, yet found myself engulfed in a profound tranquility. The train's gentle sway transformed into a cradle, the darkness beyond the windows embracing me warmly. The stranger's presence no longer felt menacing, but rather akin to reuniting with an old friend whose name lingered just beyond memory's reach. Upon reopening my eyes, I found myself alone in the subway car. The fluorescent lights buzzed with their customary harshness, the advertisements depicting mundane offerings. The air had reverted to its usual temperature, the subway's sounds resuming their familiar cadence. Yet something had shifted. A subtle iridescence clung to my attire and the window's reflection, akin to dewdrops on a spider's web. In my pocket, I discovered a ticket stub I did not recall acquiring. Inscribed with symbols of an unfamiliar alphabet I somehow comprehended effortlessly. Henceforth, during late-night subway rides, I keenly observed my fellow passengers. Occasionally, when light strikes just so, I glimpse blurred edges and lingering afterimages. And on rare occasions, a distant humming resonates not in my ears but within my bones. A gentle reminder that reality ebbs and flows more fluidly than perceived, especially within those twilight realms between consciousness and slumber. Story 33. Drawn by an unexplainable urge to explore, I found myself venturing into an old theater on the outskirts of town. Once grand, now shrouded in decay, its ornate balconies and velvet seats carried whispers of a distant past, filled with applause and drama. As I stepped onto the creaking stage, a soft, haunting voice drifted to my ears, reciting lines tinged with sorrow and yearning. The melancholic sound lingered, bouncing off the weathered walls, blending with the musty aroma of aged curtains and forgotten dreams. leaving me to ponder if the theater was truly deserted. A gentle autumn breeze weaved through unseen crevices, orchestrating a delicate symphony of rustling papers and distant murmurs. My footsteps, barely audible, graced the wooden stage, each board sighing beneath my weight. The air held a peculiar heaviness, as if traversing through layers of memories frozen in time. Above me, the grand chandelier hung motionless, its crystals coated in dust, yet occasionally catching faint glimmers of light filtering through the high windows, painting ethereal patterns on the walls. My curiosity led me to the stage wing, where forgotten props lay hidden under sheets resembling gentle waves in the dimness. The enigmatic voice that had beckoned me seemed to emanate from this direction, though now reduced to a mere whisper. Amid the abandoned set pieces, a mirror in an old dressing room caught my eye. Clouded with age, yet radiating an eerie glow, the mirror seemed to pulsate with an inexplicable energy. In its reflection, elusive movements not my own flickered, shadows of long-gone performers honing their craft. The voice, now slightly clearer, resonated with a melodic quality, both soothing and sorrowful, as if recounting a tragic love story. Time warped within the theater's walls. Minutes stretched into hours as I delved deeper, unearthing crumbling playbills and costumes still faintly scented. The voice continued its gentle soliloquy, guiding me through forgotten nooks of the theater. In the orchestra pit, ancient sheet music lay scattered on music stands, notes faded yet visible, as though awaiting musicians to breathe life back into them. As dusk approached, the shifting light cast elongated shadows that seemed purposeful, gliding across the seats. The voice gained strength, yet never surpassing a murmured cadence. Seated in a well-preserved velvet chair, I watched as dust particles danced in the waning sunlight. The theater seemed to pulsate, its walls expanding and contracting with the weight of countless narratives. In this tranquil moment, I realized the voice wasn't addressing anyone in particular. It was the essence of the theater itself, reminiscing. Each word woven with remnants of past performances, of standing ovations and tearful farewells, of debut nights and final curtain calls. Night descended, bringing a new depth to the voice. It seemed to emanate from all directions, enveloping the space with a warm resonance that made the air hum with gentle vibrations. The words grew clearer, their meaning just out of reach, like grasping at a fading dream. The chandelier now caught the moon's glow, casting soft rainbow refractions resembling aurora borealis on the ceiling. Drifting between wakefulness and slumber, the voice served as a soothing lullaby, blurring the line between reality and dreams. In this twilight awareness, phantom spectators materialized, hinted by moonlit patterns and shadows. They sat in reverent silence, captivated by the voice as much as I was. With the deepening night came a profound sense of peace. The voice gradually faded, leaving behind a feeling of gratitude, as though my presence had acknowledged and validated the stories enshrined within these walls. The theater settled, creaking and sighing like an old friend preparing for rest. When I rose to depart, the voice had become a mere memory, a faint echo in my mind. Yet the theater felt changed, more vibrant, despite its neglect. Striding towards the exit, each step accompanied by the protest of aged floorboards, I understood that some places never truly empty. They wait, cradling their stories until someone willing to listen arrives. Months later, I am still drawn to that theater in the twilight hours. The voice remains, sometimes a whisper, a gentle nudge reminding me that behind every curtain and beneath layers of dust, tales yearn to be heard by those who pause to listen. The theater lingers as a sanctuary where past and present meld, memories twirling like dust motes in moonlight, forever preserved in the tender echoes of that mysterious voice. Story 34. In the dim recesses of our ancestral abode's attic, I stumbled upon a bundle of aged letters bound by a fragile ribbon. Their ink faded and pages yellowed. Whispers of a forgotten tale lingered within those mysterious symbols and cryptic messages. The air was heavy with the scent of antiquity, a blend of aged paper and distant memories, as I gingerly unfurled each letter, sensing a long-concealed enigma beckoning to me from the shadows of the past. Outside, the autumn rain tapped a gentle melody against the attic window, its rhythm harmonizing with the cadence of my own heartbeat. Dust motes pirouetted in the soft glow of sunlight filtering through the glass, casting a surreal aura over the chamber. Nestling upon a weathered wooden chest, its surface polished smooth by the passage of time, I delved deeper into my newfound discovery. The first missive bore a date nearly a century old, penned in a flowing script akin to inked rivers. Amidst the conventional words, intricate symbols unknown to me adorned the pages, delicate spirals and geometric patterns that seemed to shimmer in the dim light, as if imbued with a hidden warmth beneath my fingertips. Subsequent letters unveiled a recurring motif, references to the ebb and flow of seasons, the waxing and waning of the moon, and dreams that blurred the boundaries between reality and the ethereal. The elusive author, signing merely as E, wove tales of moonlit gardens and phantom melodies that danced without instrumental accompaniment. The wind whispered through the attic rafters, and the ancient abode itself seemed to murmur its long-held secrets. In hushed tones, I recited the enigmatic verses, feeling their weight upon my tongue. Some passages were inscribed in a mirrored script, their meaning unveiled only when reflected in the dusty attic window. With each letter absorbed, the world beyond the window pane faded, replaced by the enigmatic realm depicted within those aged pages. E narrated of shadows defying the light's path, clocks reversing time on peculiar nights, and ephemeral visitors whose footprints bloomed into wildflowers come daybreak. The sixth letter, in particular, detailed a gentle ritual involving mirrors arranged under the full moon, not sinister, but a serene ceremony that unveiled glimpses of alternate realities within their reflections. A subtle breeze stirred my grandmother's old rocking chair in the corner, a memory of her stormy tales lingering in the air. Did she, too, harbor knowledge of these cryptic letters, of the enigma they concealed? The golden light of late afternoon bathed the attic as hours slipped by unnoticed, the letters growing increasingly enigmatic, with entire paragraphs inscribed in those mystifying symbols. Yet, a flicker of understanding teased the edges of my consciousness, as if the letter's secrets were within grasp. The final letter bore a sense of urgency, the script trembling with a revelation about time and memory, how echoes of the past lingered in certain places and objects retained imprints of their handlers. Upon conclusion, a wondrous phenomenon unfolded before my eyes. The dust in the air coalesced into familiar symbols. The rain outside whispered in an unfamiliar tongue, a language ancient yet recognizable. Rebinding the letters with care, I acknowledged their indelible mark upon me. The world now felt layered, brimming with hidden depths beyond mere sight. The mystery of E and the enigmatic letters remained unsolved, a tantalizing enigma left to ponder. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting elongated shadows across the attic, a peculiar sight caught my eye. My shadow on the wall hesitated, as if contemplating a divergent path. A smile tugged at my lips, understanding that some mysteries are not meant to be unraveled, but rather embraced and experienced. On tranquil afternoons, when the light waltzes just so and rain whispers its melodic lullaby, I revisit the attic. Sometimes I peruse the letters anew. Other times I sink into my grandmother's rocking chair, attuned to the whispers of the house and the dance of dust motes. The letter's enigma persists, a comforting companion reminding me of the boundless wonders awaiting discovery for those willing to seek them out. Story 35. In my wanderings through a forgotten corner of an abandoned library, I stumbled upon a hidden alcove shrouded in a gentle mist and filled with relics and faded photographs. The air was heavy with the scent of old paper and cedar wood, inviting me to unravel the mysteries concealed within. Amidst the relics, a partially veiled portrait captivated my attention, a silent beckoning to unearth a memory obscured by the passage of time. The portrait portrayed a woman in Victorian attire, her features softened by age and dampness, yet her eyes remained strikingly clear, seeming to follow my every step through the alcove, luring me deeper into the forgotten chambers of the library. As I treaded lightly on the whispering floorboards, releasing delicate clouds of dust with each step, I found myself drawn to a weathered desk near the portrait. Its surface bore the marks of countless teacups long forgotten. Running my fingers along the smooth wood, I discovered a leather-bound journal nestled in one of its drawers. Opening it released a fragrant blend of lavender and ink, while the elegant but faded handwriting within unraveled events from the late 1800s. A subtle drop in temperature accompanied my reading, and the quality of light shifted, casting a softer, golden glow akin to the warmth of a sunlit afternoon. The journal belonged to Elizabeth Blackwood, the woman depicted in the portrait, the keeper of the library. In its pages, she chronicled peculiar happenings, books relocating themselves under the veil of night, hushed conversations in empty spaces, and a mysterious collection of volumes that seemed to hold memories instead of mere words. These books, as per her accounts, could reveal glimpses of the past when bathed in the right light. With each passage I absorbed, the surroundings subtly transformed. Dust motes danced purposefully in the air, swirling in patterns reminiscent of waltzing couples. The soft echo of turning pages resonated from distant corners, though I knew solitude enveloped me, or at least it had upon my arrival. A gentle breeze carried the faint melody of piano music, drifting through the walls as if a figment of imagination. The notes, though unfamiliar, felt oddly comforting, as if woven into the fabric of the library itself. The portrait of Elizabeth seemed to shift before my eyes, clearer now, as if time momentarily rewound its decay. Continuing to read, I unraveled Elizabeth's revelations about the library's peculiar state of temporal flux. She detailed instances where past and present intertwined, unveiling long-concluded events. These phenomena, she observed, manifested most prominently during twilight, when shadows elongated and reality blurred. Responding to Elizabeth's narrative, the light in the room underwent another transformation. Shadows cast by the bookshelves detached from their sources, undulating like living entities. Within their depths, I glimpsed transparent figures in period attire perusing shelves now bare, their presence distinct yet ethereal. Elizabeth posited a theory in her journal. The library was not just a repository for books, but for memories themselves. She believed that profound emotions and significant occurrences imprinted themselves on the building, creating a tapestry of history accessible to the sensitive observer. My fingers trembled slightly as I turned to the final pages, the urgency of Elizabeth's words palpable as she described merging with the library's enigmatic memory collection. Reflections in windows showed her adorned in attire from various eras, her voice echoing words yet to be spoken. The last entry halted abruptly, as if interrupted, leaving a lingering sense of unease. Closing the journal, I glimpsed my altered reflection in a nearby window, briefly adorned in century-old clothing, with Elizabeth at her desk, recording her thoughts in the very journal now in my possession. Though the vision faded with a blink, a connection lingered, bridging past and present. The portrait of Elizabeth, no longer a mere relic, now served as a portal, offering fleeting glimpses into a woman who comprehended the library's essence. The air held a tranquil chill, pregnant with the weight of countless untold tales. Returning the journal to its resting place, I caught a glimpse of my subtly transformed reflection in the desk's polished surface, a silent acknowledgement of the library weaving my presence into its tapestry of memories. As I readied to depart, A final glance at Elizabeth's portrait revealed her softened expression, a knowing smile gracing her features in the dimming light. I pondered if another wanderer would one day unearth traces of my visit in the mysterious ambience of the library, just as I had discovered Elizabeth's memory veiled in the gentle dust of time. Story 36. In the heart of a mansion abandoned for decades, I found myself enveloped in a silence that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. The grand foyer, adorned with portraits obscured by dust and drapes worn by time, exuded a stillness that whispered of bygone days. Each creak of the decaying floorboards and every gentle murmur of the wind through shattered windows carried tales long forgotten, beckoning me to listen closely. In the fading light of the afternoon, sunbeams filtered through worn curtains, casting elongated shadows that danced upon faded wallpaper. My footsteps, soft echoes in the vast emptiness, stirred dust motes into a delicate dance in the air. The musty fragrance of ancient wood and faded memories filled my senses, while the distant rustling of branches against glass windows created a soft melody in the tranquility. Drawn to a majestic staircase, its once grand banister now dulled by the passage of time, I ascended with a curious hand, trailing along the smooth wood. To my surprise, the dust beneath my fingertips seemed to vanish, leaving behind gleaming patches that shimmered as if freshly polished. The warmth of the wood beneath my touch stood in stark contrast to the chill that permeated the mansion's halls. The second floor unveiled a lengthy hallway flanked by closed doors, each exuding a different quality of silence, dense and pregnant, akin to the pause between heartbeats. A subtle shift in temperature accompanied my passage past each door, some areas radiating a gentle warmth, while others held pockets of cool air, prompting me to tighten my jacket around me. One door, slightly ajar, revealed an old study bathed in the golden hues of sunset. Books lined the walls from floor to ceiling, their time-worn spines hinting at the knowledge they held within. A sturdy wooden desk dominated the room's center, its surface coated in a thin layer of dust, save for one untouched spot. A perfect circle that gleamed as if recently disturbed. Approaching the desk, the floorboards sighed beneath my weight, and the turned chair created the illusion of a recent departure. Within the pristine circle on the desk, a faint impression of writing emerged, visible only in the right light. We never truly leave. As the sun dipped lower, elongating shadows across the study floor, I became attuned to subtle shifts in the room's atmosphere. Gentle currents seemed to stir the air, though no windows were open, and books occasionally rustled as if being perused by unseen hands. Seated at the desk, my fingertips tracing the smooth wood grain, I noticed a comforting warmth settling in the room, contrasting the cool dampness that lingered elsewhere in the mansion. Ambient sounds, the creaking of wood, the distant whispers of the wind, the soft settling of objects, began to coalesce into a language just beyond my comprehension. Time lost its hold in that space. Minutes or hours slipped by as I absorbed the enigmatic ambience. The encroaching darkness outside the windows felt not foreboding, but rather cocooning, wrapping the study in an embrace of intimacy. Dust motes swirled in the waning light, forming fleeting patterns that resembled writing, faces, and ever-shifting shapes. As night descended fully, a remarkable phenomenon unfolded. The previously dormant circle on the desk emitted a faint pulsating glow, barely perceptible yet undeniably present. Each pulse of light caused a subtle fluctuation in the room's temperature, as the words, "We never truly leave," shimmered in the darkness. Driven by an inexplicable urge, I extended my hand to touch the glowing circle, and a profound sense of tranquility washed over me. The mansion's silence metamorphosed into a melodic symphony of subtle sounds that had always lingered, awaiting a listener. Every creak and whisper now carried stories of those who had come before, sharing their essence with me in that sacred space. When I finally rose to depart, I noticed my watch had ceased its ticking during my vigil. The darkness of the house now felt like a tangible presence, rather than a mere absence of light. As I retraced my steps through the corridors and descended the staircase, I realized that the mansion's silence had never been empty. It had been pregnant with narratives, patiently waiting for an attentive ear. The thought of revisiting that mansion often crosses my mind, yearning to once again sit in that study as night falls. In the quietest moments of my own abode, I catch faint echoes of that harmonious silence, a reminder that spaces harbor more than memories. They hold fragments of all who have traversed them, waiting in the dust and shadows for someone to acknowledge their lingering warmth. Story 37. As I sorted through the forgotten relics in a secluded corner of my dwelling, my fingers chanced upon a locked compartment nestled within an ancient bureau. With a determined effort, I coaxed the drawer open and uncovered a meticulously folded note resting inside. The paper, weathered and tinged with age, bore the elegant script of a bygone era, hinting at a concealed verity about the house's past. A delicate aroma of cedar and antiquated ink wafted from the note, beckoning me to delve into its enigmatic depths. Unfurling the fragile paper with care, the gentle rustle of aged parchment filled the tranquil room. Soft evening light filtered through lace draperies, casting ethereal shadows that pirouetted upon the desk's time-worn surface. An air of expectancy thickened the atmosphere, yet it carried a soothing quality akin to the tranquil moments preceding a gentle rain shower. The note commenced with a date from yesteryears, penned in flowing strokes that whispered of a different epoch. "My dearest friend," it began, "I must unburden a confession that weighs heavily upon my soul." Each sentence drew me further into its intrigue, painting a tapestry of peculiar occurrences that had unfolded within these very walls. The hushed echo of footsteps along vacant corridors, the subtle repositioning of objects in unoccupied rooms, and most beguilingly, the emergence of fresh blooms in a specific vase every full moon. Enthralled, I found myself sinking deeper into my seat, captivated by the unfolding narrative. The writer spoke of a clandestine chamber concealed somewhere in the house, veiled behind walls privy to innumerable secrets. According to the missive, this chamber safeguarded something precious, not riches of gold or jewels, but treasures of a more profound nature, memories frozen in time. The gentle tick-tock of the grandfather clock provided a steady cadence as I delved further, its pendulum swaying in a mesmeric dance. The author recounted their discovery of an ancient journal concealed within the walls, chronicling detailed anecdotes of the house's original inhabitants. Yet, these were no ordinary anecdotes. They spoke of shared dreams spanning generations, of murmured dialogues that seemed to transcend the constraints of time. As twilight enveloped the world beyond my window panes, I ignited an antique brass lamp, casting a warm, golden sheen upon the pages. The note alluded to a series of symbols etched into various doorframes throughout the abode, markings I had hitherto deemed mere embellishments. However, as per the writer, these symbols formed a cryptic map leading to the covert chamber's ingress. My fingertips traced the edge of the parchment as I absorbed the writer's efforts to decipher these enigmatic symbols. They had succeeded in unveiling a portion of the enigma, yet a crucial element remained elusive. The missive described how certain symbols waxed prominent during specific lunar phases, while others waned into obscurity. The gentle susurrus of wind through the foliage outside provided a soothing backdrop to my perusal, the boughs casting ever-shifting silhouettes upon my walls. The writer articulated their burgeoning conviction that the house itself pulsed with memories, not in a menacing guise, but as a benevolent custodian of bygone narratives. Drawing closer to the epistle's conclusion, the author divulged something extraordinary. They had begun to experience dreams that transcended mere reverie, vivid tableaus from the house's history unfurling in their slumber. These dreams invariably featured a woman garbed in azure, her smile knowing yet unspoken. The writer surmised that she sought to impart a crucial message, one concerning the essence of time and memory within these very walls. The final passage bore a cryptic injunction. When the midnight bells toll 13 times, and moonbeams caress the 7th step, the path shall unveil itself to those who hearken with their hearts rather than their ears. Holding my breath, I absorbed these words, attuned to every subtle sound pervading my abode. The muted creaking of timber floors, the distant sigh of zephyrs, the imperceptible ebb of time's passage. The missive concluded abruptly, unsigned, leaving me awash with more queries than resolutions. As I meticulously refolded the parchment, my gaze alighted upon a hitherto unnoticed sketch adorning the final page. A simple geometric motif that tugged at the recesses of familiarity, though its origin remained elusive. Raising my eyes from the desk, I discerned the room's dimming ambience, save for the soft radiance cast by the lamp. The house exuded a novel aura, not one of disquiet, but of a warm cognizance of the myriad narratives ensconced within its walls. Each shadow, each creak, each subtle shift in the air seemed laden with newfound significance. Returning the note to its resting place within the drawer, I refrained from securing it with a lock. A premonition whispered that this was but the prologue to a grander enigma, one destined to unfurl gradually, akin to the gradual ascent of dawn. Enshrouded in the gathering twilight, I pondered whether I too would succumb to dreams of the woman in azure attire and what enigmatic disclosures she might impart during the hushed hours of night. The grandfather clock's gentle ticking persisted in its measured cadence, while in the distance a church bell tolled. Absently counting the chimes, my thoughts lingered upon the enigma of the missive. And as the final echo faded into silence, a faint rustle, akin to the whisper of silk, teased my senses, the phantom passage of a blue-clad figure through an empty chamber. Story 38. In the hush of a fog-laden night, I found myself drawn to the solace of a time-worn inn, perched on the outskirts of a sleepy town. Within the shadowed embrace of the lobby, a soft, persistent murmur stirred from the very essence of the aged walls. The faded tapestry of wallpaper and the time-worn creak of wooden beams seemed to weave a tale of lost spirits and forgotten sorrows. An aroma of aged wood and stagnant air lingered, mingling with the ethereal whispers, beckoning me into a mystery veiled by the building for generations. The elderly innkeeper, her silver hair neatly bound, passed me a brass key with hands that trembled like leaves in a gentle breeze. "Room 17, she breathed, her voice a mere whisper against the backdrop of raindrops tapping on the window panes. "Beware the floors at night, they have a voice for newcomers." Once, her enigmatic caution might have unsettled me, but wariness had softened my senses to naught but the allure of repose. Ascending the carpeted stairs, each footfall exhaled a soft sigh beneath my weight. The wallpaper, a delicate pattern of vines and blooms, seemed to ripple at the edge of sight, yet stilled when I turned my gaze. The air thickened as I climbed, carrying the fragrance of ancient tomes and lavender long dried. Room 17 awaited at the corridor's end, its tarnished brass number gleaming with age. The key slid effortlessly into the lock, as though the door anticipated my arrival. Within, a grand four-poster bed dominated the space, its dark wood frame stretching towards the heavens like yearning fingers. Heavy drapes framed a rain-streaked window, while an ancient armchair nestled in the corner, its fabric worn smooth by generations of occupants. Nestling into the bed, the murmurs grew clearer, distinct from the chatter of guests and the storm outside. They resonated from the very bones of the structure itself. The walls seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting with each whispered syllable, drawing me into their hypnotic cadence. In the liminal realm between wakefulness and slumber, I began to decipher fragments of the murmurs, tales of travelers from eras long past, of secrets shared in hushed tones, of love stories that bloomed and withered within those very walls. The voices intertwined like threads in an unseen tapestry, each adding a hue to the narrative of the inn's history. Amidst the chorus, a woman's voice emerged, soft yet urgent. "Remember the mirror," it urged. My gaze drifted to the ornate mirror above the dresser. Within its aged surface, I glimpsed not just my reflection, but a shimmering portal to another realm. The room's reflection shifted subtly, the wallpaper brightening, shadows dancing in defiance of the lamp's flicker. In one corner, the armchair's fabric seemed to mend itself, years of wear unraveling in reverse. Yet, instead of fear, a profound tranquility enveloped me. The walls continued their murmuring symphony, accompanied by the soft creak of floorboards and the distant melody of wind through eaves. Each sound blended into a lullaby, cradling my consciousness. Throughout the night, I drifted between realms, each awakening, unveiling new whispers, new tales. The inn bared its memories, a grandmother sharing her cherished stories. As morning's pale light filtered through rain-washed windows, the whispers waned, settling into contented silence, having imparted their truths. Packing my belongings, I spied a change in the mirror's reflection, a tiny key resting upon the dresser, a silent offering from the spirits of the inn. The mystery of that enigmatic night remained unsolved, shrouded in whispers half heard, like melodies carried on a distant zephyr. Yet, the privilege of being a temporary keeper of the inn's tales lingered within me. Sometimes, even now, I press my ear to ancient walls, yearning for another whispered secret. And on quiet nights, when the world holds its breath, I feel the gentle murmur of those age-old walls, beckoning me back to that rain-soaked eve, when time's veil grew thin as ancient wallpaper. Story 39. In my exploration of an old restaurant, marked for destruction, I encountered a peculiar scent that hung heavy in the air, a blend of freshly baked bread tinged with a hint of burnt sugar. The dim light filtered through the dusty air, casting eerie shadows on the peeling walls. Every creak in the deserted dining room seemed to carry whispers of long-forgotten feasts and tragedies. Abandoned places had always held a strange allure for me. Their stillness offered a sense of solace unlike any other. As a professional photographer who specialized in capturing the essence of urban decay, I had thought myself immune to surprises. Yet, from the moment I crossed the threshold of this forsaken establishment, I knew this place was different. The late afternoon sun streamed through grime-covered windows, painting ghostly patterns on the worn floorboards, resembling ethereal footprints. The heart of the restaurant, its kitchen, beckoned me with a silent call. The stainless steel surfaces, dulled by neglect, surprisingly lacked the expected layers of dust. Running my fingers along a pristine counter, I felt an unusual coolness and smoothness that contradicted the age of the place. However, the most unsettling discovery awaited me near the far wall, a centuries-old brick oven exuding a subtle warmth, carrying hints of rosemary and thyme beneath its sugary aroma. Despite my rational mind's protests, the ancient oven radiated a heat that defied logic, as if a dormant power lay within its stone walls. In the dimness, a flicker of movement caught my eye from within the darkened oven, sending a shiver down my spine. Abandoning my camera, I ventured further into a small office concealed behind the kitchen. The walls of the office were adorned with faded photographs, capturing faces frozen in time from bygone eras. Yet, one picture seized my attention. A group of staff members proudly posed before the brick oven, just weeks prior to the abrupt closure of the restaurant 3 decades past. The longer I gazed at the photo, the more details materialized, including a shadowy figure in the background that eluded clear definition. As the scent of baking bread intensified, a soft humming resonated from the kitchen, enveloping me in an otherworldly embrace. Time seemed to warp within that space. Though the exterior light had barely shifted, my watch indicated the passage of hours. Subsequent examination of the photographs I took that day revealed inexplicable anomalies, mysterious figures and wisps of steam emanating from the supposedly dormant oven. Despite my repeated attempts to locate the restaurant, the streets seemed to conspire against me, concealing its whereabouts as if guarding a forbidden secret. Yet, on tranquil evenings, a familiar fragrance of bread and burnt sugar would drift through my window, triggering a flood of memories and unanswered questions. The anticipated demolition day arrived, but the crew found only an empty lot, devoid of any trace of the once standing structure. Locals whispered tales of witnessing the spectral outline of the restaurant materializing on certain evenings, bathed in ethereal light. And in those hushed moments, one could almost hear the faint creak of an oven door and catch the tantalizing scent of fresh bread baking in a kitchen lost to time. I possessed the photograph from the restaurant's interior, capturing the staff posed before the enigmatic brick oven. Late at night, I scrutinized the image, attempting to unravel the enigma that still clings to my memory. The shadowy figure in the background now appears more defined, resembling a phantom figure clad in an apron, engaged in an unseen task of kneading invisible dough. A recent revelation astounded me. The reflection in the oven's gleaming handle revealed a figure mirroring my presence, capturing the moment with a camera identical to mine. The persistent scent of bread and burnt sugar pervades my apartment, growing more potent with each passing moment. And in my peripheral vision, I catch glimpses of a warm glow emanating from a phantom oven that defies reality, hinting at a mysterious presence that transcends the boundaries of our world. Story 40. In the depths of the attic, amidst the forgotten relics of bygone eras, a revelation awaited me. Tucked behind a weathered trunk, hidden from the passage of time, was a canvas that beckoned with a whisper of mystery. The painting, though incomplete, captured a figure in the throes of transformation, a dance of light and shadow that stirred a sense of déjà vu within me. The air was heavy with the scent of ancient paper and memories long past, enveloping me in a cocoon of nostalgia. As I delved into the intricate brushstrokes that adorned the canvas, a peculiar sensation crept over me, as if the portrait held secrets of a life I had never led. Seated upon a worn wooden chair, I watched as specks of dust pirouetted in the soft glow filtering through the attic window, casting a halo around the enigmatic artwork. Its edges blurred into the raw canvas, merging like whispers in a forgotten dream. The face on the canvas was a paradox, both distinct in its clarity and elusive in its details, as if the artist's hand had been halted by an unseen force. The aging house murmured softly, its time-worn bones groaning in a lulling cadence that lulled me into a trance. I ran my fingers along the weathered frame, tracing the marks of time etched into the wood, each groove a silent witness to years long gone. But it was the eyes of the portrait that held me captive, painted with a depth that seemed to transcend the confines of the painting itself. As dusk descended upon the attic, bathing the room in a golden glow that painted elongated shadows across the floor, a chill crept into the air, carrying the promise of approaching autumn on its breath. In the waning light, I found myself conversing with the portrait, as though it were a confidant from a distant past. In the shifting shadows of twilight, a curious phenomenon unfolded before my eyes. The brushstrokes seemed to defy logic, changing direction with each shift in perspective, creating an illusion of fluidity that mesmerized me. The unfinished portions teased with possibilities. A fleeting smile here, a hint of sorrow there, each interpretation as transient as the changing light. Time lost its meaning in that attic sanctuary, hours slipping through my grasp like grains of sand as I unraveled the enigma of the portrait. A faded inscription caught my eye. "Remember, the light changes everything." The words, penned in a dreamlike script, ignited a spark of connection between myself and the enigmatic artist who had dared to leave their creation incomplete. I brought forth relics of the past, journals and photographs scattered around the portrait, searching for clues to unravel its mystery. Yet, the house kept its secrets close, whispering in a language I struggled to comprehend. On sleepless nights, I sought solace in the attic, the moon's silvery beams casting a ghostly sheen upon the canvas, as if inviting me into a realm of forgotten dreams. With each visit, the portrait revealed subtle shifts in its essence, mirroring the depths of my soul in ways I couldn't fathom. The eyes, windows to a hidden realm, seemed to reflect my innermost thoughts, guiding me through a labyrinth of emotions long suppressed. In the quietude of those nocturnal vigils, I shared my stories and fears, intertwining them with the silent echoes of the house. The unfinished portrait became a mirror of my inner world, a canvas upon which I projected my hopes and fears, my joys and sorrows. As the seasons painted the world beyond the attic window in hues of change, a realization dawned upon me. Perhaps the portrait's incompleteness was intentional, a deliberate choice to defy stagnation and embrace perpetual transformation. I didn't seek answers to the portrait's origin. Instead, I embraced my role as its custodian, safeguarding the delicate equilibrium between revelation and mystery. The attic became a sanctuary where time flowed like a meandering stream, blurring the lines between observer and observed, unveiling truths that transcended mere sight. And so, through the passage of years, I still ascend the narrow stairs to commune with the portrait, a silent companion in the dance of light and shadow. I document the ever-shifting tableau, the unfinished edges, a testament to the endless possibilities that lie within us. In the silence of that hallowed space, I find solace in the enigmatic presence that has woven itself into the tapestry of my existence. The portrait remains incomplete, a symphony of potentiality that unfolds with each passing moment. Its mystery, a riddle without an answer, invites me to embrace the beauty of the unknown, to cherish the evolving narrative that weaves through the threads of time. In the soft embrace of the attic's dust-laden light, the portrait whispers of secrets untold, of truths waiting to be discovered in the quiet spaces between heartbeats. Story 41. As I ventured into an abandoned building, dared by curiosity, I found myself in a vast, cavernous hall. The emptiness was palpable, yet a sudden burst of laughter disrupted the silence, reverberating off the cold, unforgiving stone walls. The laughter, though clear, carried a mysterious quality, mingling with the musty scent of neglect that hung heavy in the air. Intrigued yet wary, I hesitantly followed the sound, unsure if it beckoned me towards a memory or a foreboding warning. Each step I took seemed to deepen the darkness that enveloped me, the air thickening with the weight of untold tales buried within the building's ancient walls. Moonlight streamed through tall, arched windows, casting eerie shadows that danced upon the worn marble floor. The soft rustle of my footsteps intertwined with the gentle whisper of autumn leaves, creating a haunting symphony of solitude that echoed through the desolate space. Tracing my fingers along the weathered walls, I could feel the remnants of peeling wallpaper beneath my touch, the faded pattern still hinting at a grandeur long forgotten. Time had softened the building's once harsh edges, just as it had softened the memories that lingered within. Another peal of laughter, now closer, wafted through the corridor, accompanied by the scent of ancient books and lost moments. The grand staircase beckoned me upward, its groaning steps seeming to share secrets of those who had tread upon them before me. The smooth wooden banister guided my ascent, polished by the touch of countless hands over centuries. With each step, the darkness shifted, transforming into a comforting velvet embrace rather than a menacing void. On the second floor, I found myself in a corridor lined with tarnished mirrors, their surfaces reflecting slivers of moonlight that created an ethereal glow. The laughter seemed to emanate from every direction, and yet nowhere at once, as if the mirrors themselves were privy to an ancient, enigmatic joke. Beyond my solitary reflection, the mirrors captured fleeting shadows that danced just beyond my sight, like memories struggling to break free. Despite the autumn chill outside, a peculiar warmth enveloped the air in this corridor, reminiscent of lazy summer afternoons spent in sunlit libraries where dust motes danced like celestial bodies. The creaking of the wooden floorboards beneath my feet seemed to harmonize with the rhythm of my heartbeat, forging an intimate connection between myself and the forgotten realm around me. At the end of the corridor, a slightly ajar door emitted a soft, golden glow that beckoned me closer. Unlike harsh electric light, this glow was gentle, akin to candlelight or the fading rays of sunset. The laughter, now melodic like wind chimes in a gentle breeze, emanated from within that room. Intricate carvings adorned the doorframe, depicting figures locked in an eternal dance, their expressions caught between joy and an unnamed sorrow. Entering the room, my gaze fell upon an ancient phonograph, its brass horn refracting the mysterious light that filled the space. The turntable spun slowly, though devoid of any record, casting an otherworldly ambience. Adjacent to the phonograph stood a high-backed chair, its velvet upholstery worn yet still vibrant with color. The atmosphere within the room shifted, thickening like molasses, as if I had stepped into a living memory. The laughter, now seemingly emanating from the silent phonograph itself, enveloped me in its enigmatic embrace. Nestling into the chair, it molded to my form as if it had been awaiting my arrival. A tranquil stillness pervaded the room, akin to the hushed pause between heartbeats. Through the tall windows, the moon hung low in the sky, casting elongated shadows that seemed to pulsate with the life of their own. The laughter softened, evolving into a gentle hum that resonated deep within my being. Time lost its grasp as I sat there, watching the moonlight weave intricate tales upon the walls, occasionally revealing ghostly figures that danced in sync with the phantom laughter's cadence. The room felt simultaneously foreign and familiar, like a dream on the cusp of remembrance. As dawn approached, painting the sky in muted hues of gray, a realization dawned upon me. The laughter had become intertwined with my essence, or perhaps I had melded with its essence. The boundary between observer and observed blurred, akin to the vanishing mist of early morning. When I finally stirred to depart, my movements felt both urgent and languid, as though the room itself yearned to detain me a moment longer. I never revisited that forgotten edifice, yet on tranquil nights when the world falls into a deep slumber, the distant laughter echoes in my mind. It visits me in dreams, or in those fleeting moments between wakefulness and sleep. And in those ethereal instances, I ponder if a part of me still resides within that room, ensconced in the velvet chair, ensnared by the echoes of joy reverberating through the vacant corridors, anticipating another soul to follow the laughter and unravel the enigma that ensnared me, or perhaps that I ensnared. Story 42. In the hush of a deserted art gallery, I found myself wandering alone amidst shattered frames and abandoned canvases. A quietude so thick it felt tangible enveloped me, while faint footfalls whispered alongside me, as if a spectral companion walked in parallel. The air carried the musty scent of aged canvas and weathered varnish, each step I took stirring echoes of past artistic glories and buried heartaches entrenched within the silent chambers. Despite its abandonment for years, an inexplicable force had drawn me to this forgotten place on this particular day. Dust particles pirouetted in slender beams of light that pierced through the grime-laden windows, casting ethereal spotlights on worn floorboards. My fingertips trailed over the walls, tracing the faded patterns of the textured wallpaper. The footsteps, always at a constant distance, maintained a gentle cadence that seemed to echo a grace beyond my own. Initially dismissing them as mere echoes of the building settling or my own movements rebounding off the lofty ceilings, I couldn't shake the distinctiveness of their lightness. Passing by numerous vacant frames bereft of their former contents, I pondered the memories that once graced those now empty spaces. The chill in the air deepened as I delved further into the gallery, a subtle aroma of oil paint mingling with the stagnant ambiance. Within a chamber, a lone painting remained, a portrait of a young woman clad in white, her gaze seemingly tracking my every step. Unlike its surroundings, the canvas remained remarkably intact, save for a brass plate bearing a date from a bygone era, devoid of any artist attribution or title. The accompanying footsteps paused when I halted before the portrait, and an eerie stillness descended. Then a faint rustle of fabric, akin to a gown brushing against the floor, fluttered behind me, sending a shiver down my spine. Crossing into what appeared to be the principal exhibition space, I observed tall windows shrouded in neglect, raindrops beginning to patter outside, harmonizing with the enigmatic footfalls. As I traversed the hall's length, previously unnoticed details came into focus. A scatter of paintbrushes, an overturned easel, a palette bearing dried vestiges of paint. Everything lay cloaked in a thick film of dust, barring a solitary patch near the far wall where the floor seemed recently disturbed. The footsteps grew more distinct here, their rhythm deviating slightly from my own, creating an uncanny echo as they halted and resumed with an eerie timing. The whisper of fabric and a faint hint of lavender essence teased my senses, while fleeting movements caught in my peripheral vision hinted at a ghostly presence that vanished upon direct inspection. The rain outside continued its tranquil melody against the windows, casting shifting shadows akin to liquid silver on the floor. Drawn towards a door leading to an artist's studio, I beheld dried paint tubes strewn across a workbench and an incomplete canvas perched on an easel. The painting depicted a familiar setting, the exhibition hall I had just vacated, teeming with vitality and luminance, viewers admiring artwork now absent from the walls. As I scrutinized the unfinished masterpiece, the footfalls encircled me at a leisurely pace, the scent of lavender intensifying and the atmosphere cooling to a visible mist as I exhaled. A faint hum, barely audible over the rain's symphony, evoked a melody on the brink of recognition. The sunlight filtering through the clouds outside took on a golden hue, despite the overcast sky. In that singular moment, I discerned the footfalls matching the rhythm of my own heartbeat flawlessly. With deliberate slowness, I turned, and there she was, the woman from the portrait, translucent as morning mist, her gown billowing in an unseen breeze. Her smile, gentle and welcoming, accompanied a gesture of greeting with a paintbrush delicately poised between her ethereal fingers. She indicated the unfinished canvas and then the main hall, a comprehension dawning within me gradually. This was her domain, her everlasting creation. The footfalls I had trailed were her perpetual rounds, a testament to her enduring presence beyond the mortal realm. She wasn't a specter haunting the gallery. She was the eternal curator, ceaselessly crafting, overseeing her artistic realm. I frequent the gallery now, sharing silent companionship with my unseen guide, and on occasions I offer fresh blooms beneath her portrait. On those days, the footfalls seem lighter, and the mingled scents of lavender and floral bouquets envelop the space. In moments of tranquility, her almost familiar hum resonates as she continues her eternal vigil, tending to her everlasting exhibition. The gallery remains secluded from the public eye, perhaps for the best. Some art demands solitude, and certain narratives are best left shrouded in quiet enigma. Yet, on rainy afternoons when the light cascades through the towering windows just so, I glimpse her work evolving on the unfinished canvas, one brushstroke at a time, harmonizing with the reverberating footfalls in perfect synchrony. Story 43. As I ventured into an abandoned hotel on the edge of town, I roamed through dim corridors cloaked in dust and neglect. Within one room, weathered murals graced the walls, once vibrant scenes now mere whispers of bygone splendor. The stale scent of peeling paint and stagnant air enveloped me, and as I traced the intricate lines with my fingertips, I sensed untold tales murmuring from the very fabric of the walls. The waning light of late afternoon filtered through grimy windows, casting elongated shadows that waltzed across the elaborate artwork. A particular scene captivated me. A ballroom teeming with ethereal dancers, their figures now faint beneath layers of abandonment. Their poses appeared suspended in time, as if frozen mid-movement in an eternal dance. The more I scrutinized the mural, the more peculiar details surfaced beneath the decay. Faces that seemed to shift with varying perspectives. Dancers whose partners seemed to shift positions when my gaze averted. The gentle creaking of the aged wooden floors provided a rhythmic undertone to my observations, akin to a distant melody. My fascination deepened as I stumbled upon more murals throughout the hotel. Each narrated a distinct story, yet an enigmatic thread seemed to bind them all. In the dining hall, a banquet tableau sprawled across a vast expanse, the painted guests forever poised with raised glasses in perpetual toast. Their expressions exuded an eerie calm, and I could almost perceive a ripple in the champagne within their glasses as daylight ebbed. The soft patter of rain commenced outside, crafting a soothing backdrop to my exploration. Occasional droplets trickled through the ceiling, leaving somber streaks down the walls, yet curiously refraining from tainting the murals themselves. The painted scenes remained immaculate wherever the water grazed, as if shielded by an unseen hand. In what must have been the hotel's grand foyer, I encountered the most mesmerizing mural of all. It portrayed the hotel in its former glory, pulsating with light and animation, guests arriving in period attire, doormen extending practiced courtesies. The precision was astounding. Each window emanated a warm glow, each figure impeccably depicted. Yet my attention fixated on my reflection in a painted window, eerily vivid despite the artwork's age. I tentatively reached out to touch this anomaly, the surface yielding warmth beneath my touch, unlike the cool plaster of the other murals. A tingling sensation coursed through my arm, beckoning me closer. The rain's melody faded, replaced by a faint echo of music and revelry. The painted scenes around me seemed to pulsate with renewed vitality, hues intensifying, figures subtly shifting. Time adopted a different cadence as I lingered there, my hand pressed against the wall. The light filtering through the windows acquired a golden hue previously absent, while specks of dust pirouetted in the air like celestial bodies. Fragrances beyond decay wafted to my nostrils, a hint of perfume, a trace of cigars, the memory of lavish banquets long past. Upon withdrawing, the enchantment lingered. The murals retained a latent vibrancy, as if my unraveling of their mysteries had roused a dormant essence within. The rain continued its gentle rhythm outside, now harmonizing with the phantom music I could almost discern. I whiled away hours in that hotel, traversing from chamber to chamber, observing how the murals metamorphosed as daylight waned into twilight. Occasionally, peripheral visions teased movement, a painted hand shifting, a head subtly turning, a gown swaying in an invisible breeze. Yet when my gaze fixed upon them directly, all remained still, yet somehow more animate than before. With nightfall imminent and shadows stretching, I sensed the hour for departure drawing near. However, a sight halted me in my tracks as I approached the exit. In the entrance mural, where my reflection once lingered, a new figure materialized in the backdrop, attired strikingly akin to me, positioned precisely where I had stood, hand poised to touch the painted surface. I never revisited the hotel, yet the murals haunt my ruminations during the hushed nocturnal hours. Sometimes, in the threshold between wakefulness and slumber, I catch echoes of that distant music and mirth. And in my dreams, I merge with those eternal dancers, gliding through their painted ballroom in an unending, graceful waltz, becoming a fragment of a tale that adamantly resists fading into oblivion.